Hello, everyone. How is it going? Who we got here? We got Gremlin, long time no see, Gibson. It has actually been a little while longer than I anticipated for streaming. How's my volume? It looks like I might be a little too loud. I obviously can't hear myself, so I need your guys' feedback. Who else we got? Ernest, Kylie Smiley. Oh, hitting me with a gizzy straight off the bat. It's actually probably one of my favorite ongoing jokes. See, look at my comment section and seeing you call me that like basically every time. It's a little loud, says Kira's Theory Shack. What is up? I just saw you on Twitter. Hello, Giovanni. Hello, DFix. All right, I need everyone in chat because I'm sure that you've all been trained in the ways of algorithm maxing from watching T-Dread streams. But now that we've started, YouTube needs to look at the engagement. They need to see what's going on this stream. And so if everyone right now at the same time posts anything in chat, it could be anything, but really I want you to post either 14 or Toto, anything in chat right now, it'll trigger the YouTube algorithm and tell them that right now this stream is hopping. This stream is doing really cool. Everyone loves this stream. So you gotta like it and then everyone's gotta post 14 in chat. I believe the way that T-Drez explained it is something to the effect of, like, if someone in chat posts something, then YouTube reads it as an interaction, but, like, for a minute. So if everyone who's currently watching, which is 40 people, post something in chat right now all in the same minute, then YouTube will be like, whoa, this stream is really hopping, and it'll send notifications to more people. Hopefully more people who are actually subscribed to me and would like to watch this, as opposed to, like, I don't know, Billy Bob coming in and saying, what's a Freddy? I don't even know what a Freddy is. Toto should have clicked the remote 14 more times. That's true. Whoa, I'm totally engaging, says Curious Peanut. Alright, so as it is probably very obvious from the title of this stream, I really kind of want to revisit a lot of people's predictions before the FNAF 2 movie came out. I thought about doing my own videos first, but I thought it might be a little like, oh, is it weird if I'm talking over myself? I don't know. So we're going to kind of practice by watching Film Theory. So we're going to go through the 4 or so Film Theory videos about the FNAF 2 movie before it came out, and then stick around for the end of the stream because I'll be announcing something interesting. And let's just say the stream might be a little longer. There might be something at the end a little longer than I'm currently intending for it to go. We'll see. Do they not send notifications to everyone with the notification bell hit, asks Giovanni. They do, but quite a lot of people will subscribe to a channel but not hit the notification bell. Also, there might be some people joining us later, so we'll see how that goes. Alright, so you guys aren't going to have to tell me immediately right off the bat how the volume of the video we're going to be watching is compared to my voice. So I'm going to hit play, and you guys got to tell me it's too quiet, it's too loud, blah, 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 blah. So I'm going to hit play, we're going to play for a couple seconds, and you're going to let me know how it is. This is Lee talking, this is me talking over Lee, blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 14. Point yourself to locker 14 to prove the vengeful spirit is Cassidy. We have Just Because, member for 13 months, what a goat. Saying, thank you for being here during a crazy, stressful week. I'm always glad that... Well, I was about to say, I'm always glad that people tell me when their lives are stressful. No, I was going to say, I always like when people are like, oh, you know, I watch your videos to relax, or when there's stuff going on, I'll have them on in the background. That's always very touching. And I do hope to stream more. I'd love it if I could get to the point where I could basically stream at the same time almost every day. But my life is a little hectic right now to have that be reasonable. Too quiet. Cannot hear it at all. Cannot hear the video at all. Can't hear the video. Okay. Let's try this again.
The plot for the second
This is Lee talking, and this is me talking over Lee. Blah, blah, blah.
Franchise's 10th anniversary, Scott released 4
Andrew
pages
is the vengeful spirit. Yeah, Cassidy, she don't mean nothing no more. Alright, how's that go? Our pain brings joy to GiBi's face, says Giovanni. Quiet but better, hearing Lee now. It's too just right. Maybe a little quiet video is quiet. That's fine, I can turn it up.
The plot for the
second Five Nights at Freddy's movie is right in front of us.
In celebration of the franchise's 10th anniversary.
Alright, how about now? I think it's fine. You're a little too loud. It's perfect. Sounds good now. Okay, yeah, I turned it up a little bit. Should be good. I can adjust it as we go also. Zeta asks, how is your wallet replacement? Also, how was your fall? So I lost my wallet a couple days ago. I told the story on my podcast, but I can tell it again really quick here. So over this past weekend, I went to see the Lord of the Rings movies in the theaters. They were showing Fellowship on Friday, Two Towers on Saturday, and Return of the King on Sunday. And I've never seen Lord of the Rings before. Ever, ever, ever. I read the books probably 12 years ago, and I saw the Hobbit movies as they were coming out, but I've never seen Lord of the Rings. And so it was very cool to see those movies for the first time, extended editions in theaters one day after another, right? So there's not a big gap between them, but also it's not like literally a 12-hour experience. So that was a very cool thing. When I was watching Two Towers, my buddy was able to join me, who loves Lord of the Rings. He actually came in full Gandalf cosplay. And so bingo cards, or a drinking game, GiBi mentions that he used to work at a movie theater. So whenever I go to my movie theater, I get tickets and popcorn and soda and stuff for free. So I don't usually need to take my wallet inside. So Friday, I go and I see Fellowship, no problem. Saturday, I'm getting there and I'm like, oh, do I take my wallet inside? Maybe, because like, what if my friend wants me to buy something for him or whatever? So the last time I remember seeing my wallet is in my car as I'm deciding whether to take it inside or not. Saturday, we got hit by this big old blizzard. And so there's a lot of snow. Actually, at one point, I'm like, do I even want to go to the movie? The roads are so bad. Anyway, end up seeing the movie. Go in. The snow's so bad that my friend ends up being a little late, but he's seen the movie, so it doesn't matter. He told me afterward that he walked into the theater in his full Gandalf cosplay, and he was late to the movie, and so he goes up to the counter, and he's like, a wizard is never late, nor is he early. He arrives exactly when he intends to be. What theater is Devin in? Because obviously all the employees there know me, because I hired most of them. So then watch the movie, go home, blah, blah, blah. Next day, Return of the King Sunday, I'm looking for my wallet and I can't find it. So my game theory, is that I got out of my car with my wallet in my pocket. It falls out of my pocket, lands in the parking lot, and then the snowplows come and plow it into the giant iceberg of snow that's at the edge of the parking lot. And so it's probably buried under there until spring. So I have to buy a new wallet and get a new driver's license and stuff like that. And so that's what happened to my wallet. Dar says, hired most of them, lol. Yeah, the staff's probably like 90% the same as when I was there, and I did hire most of them. Violet Poppy, are you planning to see Iron Lung? Of course I am. But that's just a theory. A wallet theory. Alright, we're going to now get going. We got 67. We got 7 people watching. Oh my god, 7. If you guys want to see T-Dreads absolutely lose his mind saying 6-7, Withered Circle's Twitter has a video of T-Dreads on stream when he saw the number 6-7. And I retweeted that, and he's quite the funny guy, that T-Dreads. Withered, hello. If you want to join, you can just hop in. I'm in the chat and T-Dread server. Alright. Only half of you have liked the video, even though we haven't started yet, so I have no reason for you to actually like it. Anyway, we're going to now get going with the first film theory video about the FNAF 2 movie, back before we knew anything about it, but we got those weird script pages. Lee's going to explain it. We're just going to hit play, okay? We're ready. Let's go.
The plot for the second Five Nights at Freddy's movie is right in front of us. In celebration of the franchise's 10th anniversary, Scott released 4 pages of the script, but only one of them is real. The key to figuring out which one is hidden on one of these script pages.
This is a phenomenal way to start a video. Within 14 seconds, we're already hooked. Like, oh man, he's gonna unlock the secrets of the FNAF 2 movie. This is the kind of editing that, like, I wish, as we keep going, we'll see, that I wish Film Theory still had, because nowadays it seems like they take over a minute to even get started. Just because his gifted 5 memberships. Thank you, the GOAT.
And I figured it out. I know which one it is. I'm not crazy. You're crazy.
Gonna be so honest, I actually don't remember which one they end up saying it is. I thought it was the Burn the Plushies Velveteen Rabbit one. I was wrong.
Hello, internets. Welcome to Film Theory, the show where it's my turn to count animatronic toes. Can you believe that we're almost coming up on the 1-year anniversary?
Yeah, okay, I think we can skip this one a little bit. Wait, Scott caught what? A little too far, maybe. Hold on.
Should have been possible. And in celebration, FNAF creator Scott Cawthorn has gone all out.
Is that a joke? Like, I know that sometimes I will mispronounce Scott's name. Or, like, you know, like calling Freddy Frankie, you know, 5 days at Frankie's. Is Cawthorn, like, is that a pun on something? I actually don't know what that means. No one in chat seems to know either. I don't know. Maybe it's just a game theory-ism.
There's been new announcements, new games, a new interactive novel, a new interview.
Hello,
even a freaking
Shaman.
crossover with Dead by Daylight.
Blumhouse guy keeps calling him that, lol. Like, by accident, like Jason Blum is calling him Cawthorn. That's kind of funny.
But most importantly, and the reason we are once again talking about one of game theory's favorite franchises on our film channel for the second week in a row, Scott also released 4 individual pages from the script for Five Nights at Freddy's 2, the upcoming sequel to the movie. But there's a catch. Only one of these pages is real and is actually in the script. Only one of these pages is in the movie.
GiBi, did you see Blumhouse making posts responding to the low scores? Yeah, I did see, like, Emma Tammy, the director, was talking about it, and on Instagram, the Blumhouse Twitter, or, oh my god, on Instagram, the Blumhouse Twitter, on Instagram, the Blumhouse account was, like, posting people cheering and dressing up for the movie. They also posted the video of that one guy who proposed to his girlfriend during the credits, which is very sweet. But the fact is, the movie's bad. Like, I get it that people can be like, oh, it's the thing I like, and it's in a movie. And that can be a really cool experience. My theater experience watching the movie was incredible. I've told the story a couple times, but obviously I saw the movie with T-Dreads and Unwithered Truth. And the scene where Mike picks up the Freddy plush, someone in my theater very loudly went, "Har, har, har, har," and then Mike squeezes it, and it goes, "Har, har, har, har," and the entire theater loses their minds. And I would not trade that for anything. But I do think it's a little cringy that Blumhouse was like, it's okay, guys, that our movie is bad. Because some people really liked it. It's like, actually, I probably would have liked the movie for the animatronics, even if the story was good. So maybe it could have just been good. Since you're a huge Star Wars fan, would you ever do a literary-style analysis of KOTOR 2? There are super interesting characters in that game. I can see myself doing a long analysis for a video game. I played, like, the first half of KOTOR 2 when I was a kid, so I wouldn't necessarily do that one, but I could see myself doing something like that. Of course, GiBi enjoyed it. It confirmed will care. No comment.
Loyal theorists, this is a challenge. Scott looked at the community of overthinkers that he's gathered for FNAF and challenged us to figure out which one of these is actually real. And you know what, Scott? I'm not scared. I will personally take on your challenge and I'll figure out which one of these pages is legit and which ones
is he gonna do it, chat? Is he gonna do it? I know most of you have probably seen this video.
Through them, comparing them to what we know about
let's
lore and looking at these pages through the
guess in the
lens
comments.
of the
Everyone put your prediction. Is he gonna get it right?
I did it. I know which one of them is real, and it tells us so much about where the FNAF movie franchise is going.
Even if you knew which one it was, I don't think that you could predict what happens in the FNAF 2 movie. And then Abby goes to the science fair for the 3rd time. When me and Unwithered were talking about the movie for 5 hours on my other channel, we were like, oh, you know, Scott just followed Screenwriting 101, right? The first time we see Abby in the movie, her friend drops his book on the ground and she picks it up for him. That's Save the Cat. That's chapter 1 in film writing. Chapter 2 is science fair. You gotta make sure half of your movie takes place at a science fair, otherwise it's not a good movie. Violet Poppy is building Star Wars Lego. Let me know which set it is. Yeah, who edited the movie? Nothing wrong with the editing of the movie, in my opinion. Wait, that's true. You and Withered and Teachers are so insightful. And there was a second mic. That's fine. I don't have a problem with a lot of the decisions as far as, like, second mic goes. I just don't like the movie. I spent, like, 7 hours talking about how I don't like the movie. I don't need to reiterate that here. I just don't like how one thing that happens in the movie does not necessarily lead to another thing in a logical way. And so if you really look at it, you're like, I don't think that it really makes sense that this character would do that. Anyway, just so you guys know, the reason I keep pausing the video and talking is for copyright reasons. I don't necessarily think that Film Theory is going to strike my channel for this, but it is technically the correct thing to do, and it would be illegal if I just sat here and let the video play. But we're going to keep going.
With just this one page, I believe we can map out not only the plot of FNAF 2, but also FNAF 3.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Get your animatronic suits ready, friends, as we take a bite out of these pages. So, because it's been about a year since the original FNAF movie hit theaters and we all did the Leo DiCaprio pointing meme when Matt popped up, let's do a recap so we're all on the same page of where things ended up. Five Nights at Freddy's follows Mike Schmidt, a young man struggling to take care of his younger sister Abby and keep down a steady job. His parents aren't around anymore, and he has
Fam, I don't know if we can just skip this part or not. Like, we get it. I understand why they'd want to recap things, because most of their audience are casual fans who probably do need the recap, and it extends the length of the video, which means that they get more ads. But I think one of the problems with, like, modern film theory is that they spend too much time recapping, which makes, more attentive fans sort of lose interest, which could actually end up hurting the video retention. But what do I know? I don't have 13.4 million subscribers.
Please come back.
And more or less, that's the movie. So what are the new pages we're dealing with? Let's go over them one by one. The first page has Abby talking with a new animatronic called Toy Chica. The toy animatronic.
Okay, hold on, just because I know where this is going. Hold on. Let's rewind. I can't rewind. Can I rewind?
Toy animatronic.
Can I go back? Yes, okay. Don't worry, guys. I'm a professional YouTuber. I know that hitting the comma key goes back 1 frame. Okay, guys, let's look at this render of Abby right here. Look how, like, obviously it's photoshopped. You can see it with her hair that it's, like, not very well done. But look how clean and crisp and high quality this cutout of Abby is, okay? This is going to be important to remember a couple videos from now. Just look, they have a high-resolution photo of Piper Rubio, okay? Just remember that. Let's go.
The toy animatronics are improved versions of the characters from the original FNAF introduced in the FNAF 2 game. They were much more advanced than the original animatronics, with a facial recognition system and child protection software programmed into them that would protect kids from anyone the animatronics deemed dangerous. Back to the page, as Toy Chica and Abby are talking, Vanessa is being held in the pizzeria's storage room, forced to give out some sort of code. Toy Chica then relays that to Abby, who is typing it into a computer.
Shouldn't have to be said, but this is obviously the one that ends up being true.
Abby puts in the code, Toy Chica's eyes light up, and excitedly she says, "You did it, Abby! We are free!" If I were a betting man, this page is showing Abby being tricked by the animatronics into freeing them from some form of their child protection software. So
okay, okay, we know that that's not what it is. It's freeing them from being bound to the building and not being able to leave. Is freeing them from their child safety software a reasonable thing to assume, right? Why would Abby have to punch in something that makes them not have to protect children? He's saying that they're tricking her, which means that the robots themselves, because at this point we don't know if they're possessed or who's possessing them, the robots would want to hurt kids or they'd want to turn off their database. So is the idea that, like, William's controlling them and wants to use them to hurt kids? Like, why would you assume that that's what they're disabling? I would assume that they're doing something like disabling the cameras or something to the effect of, like, I don't know, maybe I can only think this way because I've seen the movie now. But I'm like, oh, yeah, a restraining bolt that allows them to leave the restaurant. By the time of the first trailer, we certainly know that they're leaving. So I would not say... I don't think that I would find it reasonable to assume that just because the only thing we know about the toys is that they're connected to a criminal database in the games, that that's definitely what they're getting rid of here. I guess it's the best that Lee had to work with. I just disagree. Giovanni says, do they even have child protection software in the movie? I don't remember it. The Withers have a scanny thing. No, not that we know of. There's no child protection thing in the movie. It's hard to talk about characters in this movie because that's what Scott was truly trying to do with themes and motives. Then the character would do something because the writer wants them to. I agree, but let's not make this a dunking on the movie stream.
They can move around and hurt anyone they'd like, even if they're not deemed a predator or dangerous. The second page, however, is completely different. Here we are introduced to General Everly and Captain Nelson, two completely original characters who aren't in the game. The pair have a conversation in some sort of conference room about a robotics project. Here, General Everly vents his...
This is the funny one that was obviously never true.
Frustration that the government funded Fazbear Entertainment, completely dumbfounded that they would get in bed with a pizza place. When it's pointed out that Fazbear Entertainment is way ahead on animatronic tech, Everly lashes out that this sort of technology shouldn't be tested on kids' entertainment, and that what Fazbear gave them wasn't animatronic tech, but instead observable effects of unobservable energy exchanges.
Okay, so let's talk about this for 5 seconds. Okay, so this is obviously a joke on the old theory that, like, you know, Fazbear was designed by the military or whatever. But can this quote, observable effects of unobservable energy exchanges, like, can that be canon? Like, can we apply this joke that Scott wrote for a non-canon script teaser to be like, and that's how Agony works, because it does kind of line up with what Phineas Taggart does in the Fright's epilogues. Lee... I don't know. I wonder if Lee's going to say something like that.
The third page starts with a conversation between Abby and Mike about a book where a boy gets sick with a very contagious disease called scarlet fever.
Why is Mike looking at me like that? I don't like him looking at me like that. I'm just trying to watch a video here. Bye.
The boy has plushies that he loves dearly, but they have to be burned because the scarlet fever has likely attached to the plushies, making them very dangerous. Apparently, Mike and Abby are dealing with some weird plushies themselves, and Mike realizes that Abby is saying that these plushies are dangerous too. Just like the book, they should.
So the reason that this one seemed more likely than the others is because the story they're talking about is the Velveteen Rabbit, which is already referenced in the flesh. And so it's like, oh, Scott is aware that this exists. That, in hindsight, is not good evidence, because the fact that Scott knows that this book exists is probably one of the reasons why he was able to just pull it out of nowhere when he had to come up with a fake script idea. He was like, what if the Velveteen Rabbit, but also the FNAF plushies? So, as much as my reasoning at the time was that, oh yeah, Scott and Velveteen Rabbit in the flesh, that's actually probably was good evidence that it was not the real one. Unwithered Truth is here. Hello, sir. Feel free to jump in the stream if you'd like. I'm in T-Dreads' server.
Should be burned. Later, he calls up Vanessa and tells her to suit up in dark clothing because they have a job to do. Finally, the fourth page sees an unnamed man with two kids, Darren and Gemma, as they enter an abandoned Freddy's Pizzeria. Here, the man turns on a carousel and leads the kids to the center of the carousel, where there's a hidden staircase descending into the darkness below. The three of them then descend into it, their fates unknown.
This one was so interesting because, like, it could have depicted so many different things. Like, the man could be William, or the man could be Henry. It could be a sister location underneath the restaurant, which a lot of people, I think, Unwithered included, currently actually believe. And so this one just seemed to be, like, very tantalizing, right? I'd love to see a movie opening with a mystery like this. And because Scott is the greatest writer on Earth and he makes Tolkien look like a worm, this is clearly how he would open his movie. Yeah, no.
So, which one is real? Well, all of them have interesting ideas and bits that hint at them being real, but some are less realistic than others. To start, let's tackle the one I think is least likely to be the real page, the second page. This is the one where a group of army officers are talking about the animatronic tech that Fazbear Entertainment is developing. Now, there are a lot of fun little secrets hidden on this page. The general calls Fazbear Entertainment a circus, for instance, a circus as in it's a joke. This is a nice reference to one of the current talking points in the FNAF fan community, speculating about its origins as Fazbear's traveling circus in the 1970s. But despite that, this page is clearly fake for a few reasons.
Yeah, obviously. I wonder, does anyone know if Everly and Nelson would be a reference to something? Because I think that's something that Scott would do.
The first big reason is that this is introducing an element to the franchise that they've never used before, with the military. The strategy the FNAF movies seem to be taking is approaching the series as a whole, the games, books, whatever, throwing it all in a blender, and then shaping their story from the resulting Fazgoo. While Afton did talk to some supervising body during the opening cutscene of Sister Location, where they asked about some of his design ideas,
with all due respect, those aren't the design choices we were curious about, Mr. Afton.
saying that this is a government entity is a stretch. Afton has never been said to have government backing in the games. It would require a lot of explanation for how and why this is even a thing, and we would need to spend so much time to explore what this meant for the...
No, we get it. Okay. Okay, real
feel
stuff
like it's
now.
driving you crazy. I mean, I'm not crazy, right? But something that is crazy is that I did an...
Oh, no one cares. No one cares about your stupid mobile game that's gonna steal money from people ad. Oh my god. Still going. He's still yapping about Game of Thrones. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, here we go. Oh, he's still talking about the... Page 18. Okay, no, I vaguely remember that this is important. He talks about, like, how far into the movie the page numbers are.
point in the movie, but to understand why, we first have to talk about movie structure. See, a movie is generally broken down into 5 parts: the cold open, acts 1 through 3, and then the resolution. It starts with
Same
the
old
cold
throne.
open, which immediately drops you into the
Thank you,
world and
Henry.
acts as a hook to get you engaged with the story. In FNAF 1, this is the security guard at the start of the film getting hunted by the animatronics. Then there's Act 1, where the main characters are introduced and the conflict of the story is...
The problem with this, Lee, is that I think, as we have determined from the FNAF 2 movie, Scott does not know how to write a 3-act structure.
Discovered. In FNAF, we see this with Mike losing his job and needing to take the gig at Freddy's so he can take care of Abby. Screenwriters are taught that, as a general rule of thumb, 1 page of a script is equal to about 1 minute of screen time. To be clear, this isn't written in stone. A lot of scripts are much longer than the movie's final runtime, and a lot of long movies are made from super short scripts. The minute per page idea is like the pirate code.
The code is more what you'd call guidelines than actual rules.
It mostly applies.
Was that necessary? Was that just like audience retention maxing? We got to play a cool clip to keep people's attention, because that seemed entirely unnecessary. But what do I know? I don't have 13 million subscribers.
Enough that we can use it here. So, following this rule, at page 18, that means that this scene
Oh,
with
it
the
was
military
fun.
would be happening somewhere like 15 or 20 minutes into the movie, making it a scene smack dab in the middle of Act 1. That makes no sense, considering everything else that Act 1 of this movie
see a reference,
needs
I clap.
to do. It needs to tell us what Mike, Abby, and Vanessa have been up to, show us their new dynamic, introduce us to the new conflict. It has a lot of heavy lifting it needs to do, so cutting away to the military drama here makes zero narrative sense, so we can safely...
I disagree, because I think around this time, it was probably a little later, but like the idea that you can't have more things in Act 1, like we cut to the whole camera crew in Act 1 of the real movie. Like, just because you can't necessarily imagine the way that, like, oh, where would it go in the script? I don't think a lot of us imagine that the movie would jump forward 2 years and Vanessa would just be out of the hospital. So I really don't see this being a reason why it couldn't be the case. It's not the case because it's stupid. But I don't think that it being 15 minutes into the movie really matters. There's quite a lot of movies that open with a couple different, like, oh, we have the cold open, and then we have some sort of setup theme. Maybe there's narration that tells us what's going on. I saw a movie recently that just had the longest opening. Minecraft! The Minecraft movie! Oh my god! The intro just didn't stop! With Jack Black narrating over nonsense and throwing terms at you, and like, that scene lasted for so long. Yeah, thinking about it, like, and then obviously there's something like Lord of the Rings, right, which has good narration and world building and jumps between a couple different plots at the same time. But no, I do not think that this is sound logic, but I do think that it ends up being correct because of the nature of the script. And I also know he's about to use how far the scripts are into the movie based on the pages to talk about the other 3. So I guess it matters to establish this now. I just think that that's not good reasoning.
Eliminate this page. The act structure also lets us eliminate another page. The first one, where Vanessa is being forced to give Toy Chica a code.
Holy no!
And Abby is typing that code into a computer. Now, the concept of this scene, Vanessa being tortured to give up valuable information, and Abby being tricked into using it to free the toy animatronics, that could absolutely be in a movie like this. It's in character, and the conflict makes sense.
Yes, it does. One of the few things that does. Kind of. Except for the fact that Charlie is shown later in the movie to gain Abby's memories when she takes over her body, and so she could have just done that to Vanessa and then also left without hurting her, as she does later to Abby. I think I may have said Charlie somewhere in there. Abby, Abby, Abby. Charlie, Abby, Abby. Charlie, Abby. Let's go.
However, the placement of the scene makes no sense. This page is labeled as page 25, meaning that it would be roughly 23 to 28 minutes into the...
Okay, I don't necessarily have the capability to do this right now. I would like someone in the chat, whether it's Withered Circle or Maury or Unwithered Truth, go look at the FNAF 2 movie right now. Tell me how many minutes exactly into the movie it takes for this scene to happen, because I do kind of want to see how the page numbers might line up with that kind of thing. I'm actually fascinated by this. Lord of the Rings has Tom Bombadil, Leslie Token is a worm with a Y, ha ha ha. Gigawatts looking, give me a minute. This doesn't make sense for the setup of a classic screenplay structure. The devious Scott, only writer with no screenplay experience, Cawthon. You mean Cawthorn Cawthon. Maury's also looking at it. Guys, you can just watch the movie. It's like streaming. You don't need to get it from Foxy. Yar. Alright, so while we're waiting for people to come back with that, we're going to hit play. Obviously, Leah's wrong here. Yeah.
The movie that would place it either at the middle or end of Act 1.
Lee, you're assuming that there's going to be a third act?
way too fast for something like this to happen, and let's go over the rest of
Also, I do want to say, hold on, this may be a little tricksy little hobbitses.
Act
Let's
1.
look at this. Vanessa watches the monitor through pained breath. You would assume that if this script was quote-unquote entirely real, that it would mention that, like, the McKenna Grace character is with Vanessa. You know, Vanessa watches the monitor through pained breaths, the marionette squeezes her and says something, you know? It's at 55 minutes, says Maury. 55 minutes! That's crazy. The script, like, obviously, so the filming script and then a literal sort of, like, if you were to take a movie and turn it into a script, comparing that to the shooting script isn't always the same, because in editing, a lot of stuff changes, or just when you're filming, things get longer. But wow. Taking something on page 25 and having that be 55 minutes into the movie is a crazy... Act 1 of this movie is so long. The page number could be a misdirect. I would think that Scott wouldn't lie about that, given the entire point of this, you know, exercise puzzle thing. Jeebus. The script was only like 70 pages. Yeah, wow. Wow. Someone was saying it's time for the Ghost Hunters. GiBi, not sure what state you're from, but are you prepared for the storm? Yes, there's going to be a giant storm this weekend. It's going to obliterate us. We need to obliterate Scott Cawthorne with our minds. Nah. Alright, let's go.
But that's way too fast for something like this to happen, and let's go over the rest of story structure to understand why. Normally, Act 2 of a story sees the characters in
normally, right,
normally from getting what they want or need. It's also generally the lowest point for the main character. In the first FNAF movie, this is where Mike is trying to
the lowest point for the main character, I believe, would be maybe when Mike learns that Vanessa's lying to him. And whether the main character is Mike or Vanessa, right? Mike learns Vanessa's been lying to him about the brother, leaves his own house because of the events of Abby being hurt, and storms away. And it's also the lowest point for Vanessa because she's just realized that her brother is back and he's going to try to hurt her. She's realized that she's lost the trust of Mike, and then she's literally taken over by an evil puppet. I would assume that would be the lowest point, and that should be in Act 2. Oh wait, that's the last scene of the movie.
Discover the secrets of Freddy's and agrees to let the animatronics have Abby. Act 3 sees the big climax of the story where all of the conflict is resolved. Mike, Abby, and Vanessa fight Afton and get the animatronics to turn on him. And finally, there's the resolution, which is a brief period of calm where...
I agree, Lee. That is normal. I do also want to say here, a movie not following the typical way that movies are structured does not automatically mean they're bad. I am a big critic of... movie criticism channels that are like, this doesn't follow Screenwriting 101, therefore it's bad. You're supposed to show, not tell, and this is telling, therefore it's bad. It's like, no, showing is something that a movie should typically be doing, but when you're telling something, you're usually doing it for a reason. If you're using all elements of a film to do something with intention, that's good. It's just that bad screenwriters often do things that are bad without intention because they don't know what they're doing. And so the idea that a movie should have 3 acts, or the idea that a movie should have like a proper script going in, is not necessarily the case. It's just that we know it is bad in this case because Scott's never written a script before, and also because the movie came out bad. So I will say that this idea of the movie will follow a 3-act structure was a bad prediction, not only because it ended up not being true, but because there's lots of movies that do not do that. My GOAT, Revenge of the Sith, is very much like that, in which the movie is constructed of 3 third acts to different stories. The first third of the movie is the third act of rescuing Palpatine. Like, we don't see the first act where he'd get captured, and the second where they begin the battle. We only see the ending. And then it's the third act of the Clone Wars, where we saw the beginning in the previous movie. We never see the middle, and the third act is defeating Grievous, and then we see the third act of Anakin's fall to the dark side, where we saw the first act in Attack of the Clones, didn't see the middle, and then saw the third. So that is not a mistake of the movie. That is George Lucas deciding to throw the 3-act structure away in order to make his movie sort of more interesting, or just make it the way that he intends to and makes a point with the way he structures the movie. The problem is that's not what Scott Cawthon did.
A new status quo is established. Mike and Abby are living happily and visit a recovering Vanessa in the hospital.
Scott is so good, he found a way to make the final act unnecessary, says Stratosphere.
It could absolutely happen in this movie, at the end of Act 2. Much further.
No, Lee, the end of Act 2 is the end of the movie.
Further than page 25. Think of everything that needs to happen before this scene. We have to get reintroduced to the main character.
0-act movie. Mike just paints the house.
characters, meet the new toy animatronics, have the child protection software be explained, have Toy Chica build up a relationship with Abby, and Vanessa needs to be captured. That can all happen by the end of Act 2 or into Act 3. But Act 1? No way. See, I really appreciate this page because it's really clever. The scene itself is realistic, and you do input codes into the baby animatronic in the sister location game. Abby is connected to baby, so the ideas line up, but the timeline just doesn't. So
I got nothing to say to that except, yep.
good troll, Scott. And so
No. No. When the film theory guys thinks you're trolling based on how your movie is. I would have loved to watch this movie next to Lee, because I don't think that he can really say, like, the movie was terrible given his position at, like, film theory, but God, I do think Lee is probably, like, a film buff. I would have loved to be sitting there and sort of, like, dissect the movie live while that was happening. Jeebus.
that leaves us with just 2 pages left.
Lee
And
tried to
honestly,
warn us.
Both of these are pretty valid options. Just as a reminder, these are the pages where Abby and Mike are talking about the dangerous plushies and where an unnamed man is leading 2 kids into a hidden room below the pizzeria. Both of these pages take place at
We got the T-Goat here. Oh my God. Also, we have 140 people watching, over only 70 likes. You got to pump those likes up for T-Dredge. You're embarrassing me, guys.
Wow, 140. You know, that's like the root of that is like 14, guys.
Oh my God, 14. Let me share my screen with you.
Okay. Not to make you sad, but I'm not gonna stay super long. I gotta order a freaking school
Taco Bell?
computer and pay my Taco Bell. Okay, frick you, dude.
It leaves automatically.
That's how it is. I gotta order a laptop too to edit on for school.
That is very cool, actually.
I'm going to film school.
Mm-hmm. Have you been watching? Do you know what we're yapping about?
No, I just saw you in here.
We're watching the film theory where Lee's talking about which of the 4 scripts ends up being the canon one, and he just got done saying it's not the one where Abby puts in the code to free Toy Chica, because it would happen too early in the movie. You know, movies usually have 3-act structures, and that would never happen in Act 1.
I show speed laughing.
Shadowfan with a $1 super chat. I get it. You guys only spend money when T-Dredge is on stream. I get it. Pablo with the 5 memberships. Thank you, Goat. Evil Frog says they're back. All right, we're going to continue.
At reasonable points in the movie. The Mike and Abby scene is on page 58, so roughly an hour into the movie.
We also determined, so the script where Toy Chica is being freed by Abby is on page 25, so Lee predicted that would happen about 25 minutes into the movie, and we looked it up and it happens 55 minutes into the movie. So we don't know what Scott's doing, but no, that's just clearly wrong. Gremlin says $2. I see Theodore Dreads, I give money. Gonk, $2. Still crazy that the plushie script wasn't real. I agree, that's the one I thought it would be.
In the middle of Act 2. That's the perfect point for this sort of story revelation and the setup for an action set piece like we see on this page. Likewise, the man taking the kids into a secret room is on page 4, so right at the beginning of the movie. Again, makes perfect sense because this is exactly the sort of scene you'd want for a cold open to hook you into the story. Who is this guy? What's this secret room? What's gonna happen to these kids? It's good.
Yeah, that's basically what I said. It's a good hook for the intro of the movie. I'm surprised he didn't predict that the opening would be Charlie's death. Although, did we know? I don't remember when we knew that Charlie would be in the movie, because I was kind of spoiled by her casting. But this was obviously before the trailer came out. What is up, Withered Circle? How are you doing?
What's up? I'm doing pretty good. I just spent like 30 minutes trying to attach my microphone to the
Did
mic
you get a
arm.
new mic?
Finally worked.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
It sounds a lot worse on Discord than it does when I'm under a blanket though. So
I think it sounds pretty good.
it does way better than the last one. But yeah, it caused me a lot of grief, but it's finally mounted. So yay.
Yay. Were you paying attention in chat?
Not exactly. What did I miss?
We're watching film theory when he's predicting which of the script pages is going to be in the movie, and he said it can't be the real one because it would happen too early in the movie. And then we said, actually, Lee, the problem is you expected that Scott would be a good screenwriter. All right.
Yeah.
I'm streaming to you
Wait,
guys if
that's
you
true.
want to follow along. Wait, that's true. What does "wait, that's true" mean? Where's that come from? Why does everyone say that? I don't know. Maybe you guys should stick around to the end of the stream.
Stuff. And
Wait,
nothing completely
that's
unrealistic
true.
or ridiculous happens on
Wait,
either one of these
that's
pages
true.
that disqualifies them, like the military page. Like, the cold open page is pretty standard killer luring kids into a dangerous place horror cliche, and there absolutely would be rooms hidden under an Afton pizzeria. We've seen that exact setup
Wait,
in other
that's
FNAF content
false.
like Sister
Wait,
Location
that's
and the Twisted
true.
Ones novel. As for
Faz
the plushies, well,
burger.
weird haunted plush babies are present in the Help Wanted series, and they attack the player, so they would be dangerous in the movie. The first FNAF movie also had the Balloon Boy toy that was basically a haunted, sentient toy, just like these plushies would be, so there's already precedence for this in the film universe.
That's actually something I didn't think about. That's actually a good point, where we've established that the little doll things can move around. Gremlin says, "What's up with this infomercial voice GiBi has been doing lately?" I took that from T-Dreads because half of the things that come out of my mouth now are just like taken from him because he's vocally stimming 24/7.
Yeah, I'm kind of inspirational, you could say.
Unwithered says, "GiBi, please watch our stream on my channel that you, TD, and I did." So I'm probably going to be reacting to a lot of different FNAF 2 movie predictions, but for right now, I do want to stick with Film Theory. I don't plan to be live for that long, and they have an hour and 10 minutes worth of videos, so we're probably just going to stick to those today, but I might do that next time.
In fact, the Balloon Boy is like one of the movie's biggest hanging threads. They'd probably want to resolve that. And all of that's without mentioning that
They probably want to resolve Balloon Boy, and then we're all here thinking, because we saw the leaks, that Balloon Boy was going to be Garrett. That's crazy that it wasn't true. Like, that would have been a slam dunk if that ended up being canon.
It should have
and
been.
Lee had
It
said
should
that
have been.
here.
Hey, you're laughing now until we get to the next movie where it turns out to be true and Balloon Boy was Garrett.
Have you considered JJ Duo?
William's going to be like,
My
I put your
question
brother in
about that is
Balloon
how
Boy.
it's very interesting that like 60 or 70%. Oh my god, I'm gonna.
Bro.
I didn't even do that.
You didn't even say 670, you said 60-70.
Yeah, but those are the numbers in the. Anyways,
I'll
it's
post it to
very
Twitter again.
interesting
Watch your stuff.
Hey, with the circle, shut the freak up, dude. Unk's talking.
No.
Okay. Why were so many of the leaks right, but then also wrong ones? Like, is that what the studios give out fake leaks to?
Yes, they do.
Yes.
100%.
Okay,
It's
so they mix
practice.
in. Okay.
Yep.
They mix in like lies.
Yeah, if you guys
Well, I hope that's freaking true
if you
because
guys
Gibbon and I
see
have been talking about
leaks-
some stuff in the background.
If you guys see leaks for any upcoming movies, it's very possible that some of them might be fake to throw people off. Ha ha, cough, cough.
Oh, it better be freaking fake, or someone's gonna burst a blood vessel.
Unwithered says the three of us should do a stream on my channel next week, on his channel next week. I'd be totally down for that. That'd be very fun. I love how GiBi is ignoring the fact that blank bro's vague posting in 2026. How would Garrett think about getting his head ripped off by his own brother? Yeah, William's gonna be like, I killed your brother, Mike, and I put him in Balloon Boy.
But
and then
don't you
hard
see that
cut.
would be a parallel? No, don't you see it would be a parallel?
Wait, that's a
because-
bite parallel.
Because
His
yeah,
head,
because
yes.
Michael Afton.
Mike destroyed his head. No, that's
And the Curse
canon.
of Dreadbear. Wait, that means there's one Mike. Wait, that's false.
No, it's
No, it
bad.
actually makes sense. It makes sense. It makes sense. Hear me out. Michael Afton isn't the actual Michael Afton. He's just like a faker. He's like Henry's son or something.
I didn't
Mike
kill
Schmidt
your
is the
brother,
actual Michael
Mike.
Afton.
You are my son.
Inside Michael Purple Geisen.
Shadowfan says GiBi is ignoring the fact that Tolkien did a trilogy that's the same structure as the FNAF movie.
I don't want to hear about this worm.
Two things about that. One is that I addressed earlier that when you're good at writing, you can actually break conventions and do it well. Secondly is that the three Lord of the Rings books were all supposed to be one story that was kind of just chopped into thirds or sixths, because if you read the books, you know that they're chopped where the first half of the book is like the Fellowship's perspective and the second is Frodo's. But yeah, no, I don't think that's a problem, but I do think it's a problem with the movie because Scott did not make a good movie. Anyway, let's go.
the plush babies would further the connection between Abby and Baby. Oh, and also there's Plush Trap 2, which is just straight up a plush version of the main villain that is alive and dangerous. I don't think that's what they're talking about here in the movie, but I just wanted to point it out because it's a relevant detail. But with all of that being said, there is one thing that gives away the answer here. In the cold open page, there's mention of a carousel. This is where the man takes the children and reveals the hidden room, but it's shown to have 7 animatronics on it. A brown bear, a blue bunny, a yellow
Oh no. Is he about to say that the existence of a gator, wolf, and hippo mean that this can't be it because it's too early in the timeline? Is that what he's about to say? Haven't seen this video in like
I think
a
I
year
watched
and a
this
half.
video way when it released. I do
Yeah.
not remember.
Oh my god, this Lee must have lost his mind at Secret of the Mimic. Someone saying they're not talking about Lord of the Rings, a different Tolkien story. That's totally fair. Maury says 3 books, 1 story. Lord of the Rings is FNAF.
Chick, a pirate
that's
fox,
true.
a gator,
Wait,
a
that's
wolf, and a
true.
hippo. In the games, there are only really 2 carousels that we know of, the one in FNAF 2 and the one in Help Wanted 2. And between them, the only characters that show up on them are Freddy, Bonnie, Chica,
Done. The
Foxy,
movie can't
and
possibly be
Balloon
any
Boy.
different.
Never a hippo,
Meanwhile,
wolf,
2
or
mics.
alligator. Now, that's not to say they couldn't bring in other FNAF characters to
Thank you.
fill in those spots, but it would be weird and it would make the timeline
No, it
get
wouldn't.
real funky. Like the hippo.
Okay,
No, it
I
literally
don't-
wouldn't.
I don't think it would be that weird.
No.
And as we
No.
know, the Mimic is secreting all over the place, and this is just factually incorrect. Now we know that, but sad.
Is
Yeah.
absolutely referring to Mr. Hippo, an animatronic that first appeared in FNAF 6. It doesn't really make sense for Mr. Hippo to be here with the original FNAF animatronics, but I guess it's not impossible. In FNAF 3, the purple mask of a character that is almost certainly Mr. Hippo shows up in the Happiest Day minigame, implying that he could exist at the same time. But the other characters, though, are just much harder to justify. Now, for the Gator, I think all of our minds immediately jump to Monty Gator from Security Breach, but it is possible that this is referring to some other character, maybe? In the Man in Room 1280 story, the book's version of
Andrew! Bro's gonna bring up
Let
Andrew!
go.
Freddy's spirit, Andrew, wears an alligator mask,
just
so
sounded
one
like a
existed that
14.
early in at least some version of the FNAF timeline. And additionally, going back to the Happiest Day minigame, there's a green mask that could also
There's
be an
our
alligator.
boy.
But considering that the other masks,
Chad, if you guys are wondering why everyone thinks it's so funny when Andrew's brought up, maybe you're gonna want to stick around to the end of the stream. I don't know.
the pink pig,
Wait,
the
that's
purple hippo,
Andrew.
and the orange elephant line up
Gibi's vague
way
posting
more
with
than
the
the
and
personalities
true.
characters. I believe that this mask is actually referring to the Happy Frog. The eyes on the sprite are even yellow like the circles around Happy Frog's eyes, so I wouldn't be comfortable saying that the gator on the carousel in the script page is referring to anyone else other than Monty. He's just the only one that makes sense. All that being said, though, the real outlier here is the wolf. The earliest wolf that we know of in the timeline is from the Twisted Ones, which is the book version of
I'm
the
buying
FNAF
a laptop.
Which is the book this movie is based on.
story,
just
which
bought
features
a
the Twisted Wolf
laptop.
animatronic. And we
Does he
also
know?
know that there was a
Does he know?
man-wolf character on a poster in FNAF 6. But why would either of those characters
Does he
be
know
on this carousel?
Foxy's actually
That's a
based on
great
Roxy?
question, and it
Does he
really
know?
doesn't make sense. No,
Does
if
he
this
know
wolf is
the
a
Deadeye
character,
Roxy
it's
lore?
almost certainly
Fine, Withered.
Roxy from Security Breach, which would also line up with Monty Gator. Regardless, having Roxy and Monty
Finally,
here
on
is
Withered chilling.
just
Hate that guy.
weird. The first movie was not shy about mixing elements from various games, but something it kept very consistent was its animatronics. It didn't overcome
Bro says that literally as he showed Ella on screen, which has never been an animatronic. What is he talking about? Sparky the dog was in the movie. What is he talking about?
complicate them or introduce
Got a
too many.
confession to
Its
make.
cast was pretty
I'm in the movie,
consistent
too.
with the
Sorry,
one from
guys.
the games. So why on
God
earth
invited
would they
me.
Where's
bring
the
in
cupcake?
Mr. Hippo from FNAF 6 and 2 characters from Security Breach with the original FNAF animatronic?
I keep using this.
Vanessa
top
is in the
Roxy render.
movie. Why would it matter that they're from Security Breach? Vanessa is also from Security Breach. Also, it's crazy. I didn't get a single ad this entire video, and I'm not signed in or anything.
Ricky Scott Cawthon, you should really put
Especially
Vanessa
given
as
just
mom
how
in the
much
movie.
attention
And
Scott
I'm not
pays
finishing
to
the rest of that
tiniest
sentence
details
because
in
it's a
his
PG-13
work.
stream.
It just doesn't make any sense, and why I
Bars.
think that this page is a fake. Oh, and also one of the kids on this page literally says the words "This is a fake." So another subtle tip off there. Very cheeky, Scott.
Yeah, that's
so
pretty
there
funny.
you have it. That leaves us with page 3 as the one I believe is the real page from the FNAF 2 movie. But we're not done. Now that we've concluded that this one is real, what does that tell us about the movie itself? Well, the main thing that stuck out to me about this page, beyond the fact that we're apparently getting haunted plushies or something like that, was the book that Mike and Abby were talking about. In
The
case you need a
Velveteen
reminder,
Rabbit.
on this page, Abby is talking about a book where a little boy
In case you need a reminder from 7 minutes ago, are you kidding me?
has plushies that he loves. But
Hey, this
after
is
he
the big
gets sick with
25 when this
scarlet
came out.
fever, he-
People
I
don't
did
got
point out,
attention span.
Lee, like 14 minutes into the video, we were already like getting going with the how interesting the video was, whereas nowadays it takes so much longer for them to start the video. Jeebus.
can't keep
I wonder
them.
why,
The
'cause I
disease
feel
is
like
just
retention
so
in the first
contagious that it might
30
attach
is
to the
very
plushies
important.
I
and
How the
agree.
spread
video does
that way.
overall. So
the
asking
plushie
people to subscribe in the first 30 seconds feels suboptimal.
Yep. Pickle Pepper, $2. No ads because GiBi got a different new phone.
Same old phone?
Yeah, same old phone, different new phone.
Same old
Different new
phone.
phone?
Different new phone.
These have to be
Me when the
burned.
timeline
She
changes.
then goes on to liken the book to the dangerous plushies that the
That's not
gang
true, that's
is currently
impossible.
facing. Well, if the plushies from that book were so applicable to the current situation in this FNAF story, is there anything else from the book that
Abby
would
has
also
scarlet
apply?
fever,
Well,
that's what's
after some
happening.
research, I was able to figure
Does
out
he
that the
know
book
that this is
they're
just
talking about here-
a
After
joke
some
about
research!
the plushies take Manhattan? Wait, hold on. Does he
After
know
some
that this is a
research,
joke?
I typed it into Google.
This script is obviously a joke. It's based on the Plushies Take Manhattan script from the FNAF 1 movie.
Yeah, which we know in
freaking guy.
hindsight now, but
No, we knew that since the start.
Well-
Scott talked about those scripts like years ago.
I
We
know,
knew
but
about the Plushies Take Manhattan script.
I know, but that doesn't necessarily mean that this
we
one's
got a
fake.
freaking genius on our hands. Whoa.
But the phrase
No,
I did some
no,
research.
okay.
No,
He's a
I know
wise
what
guy
you're
over
saying.
here.
That is a reason to think that this one is fake, but I would not say that you can
True.
write this off 100%.
Yeah, fair enough.
You're insane. You're in pain.
I can tell by
I
what
can
you're
tell by
saying.
what you're saying.
Here is a classic
am
known
Golden
as The
Freddy.
Velveteen Rabbit, written by Marjorie Williams. This story is told from the point of view of a plush rabbit toy given to a small boy as a Christmas present. The rabbit desperately wants to become real and is told that it's
Gremlin
See,
says...
this would have been more peak than the actual one, but we aren't ready to discuss that.
Kind of agree. Gremlin says, I googled Velveteen Rabbit and saw the Velveteen Rabbit.
Wait, I'm kind of like Einstein.
I did some research. If you guys want to hear my
I'm
thoughts on
a
the Velveteen
genius.
Rabbit, go watch my In the Flesh video. Or rewatch...
This research methods college class really paid off.
I had to log in to JSTOR. Or go rewatch my entire 36-hour video. Anyway.
possible when a child loves you for a long, long time, not just to play with, but really loves you, then you become real. Over the years, though the boy gets other toys and presents that are more modern, he grows to love the rabbit plush and regards it as his favorite toy, treating it like it was a real rabbit. However, sadly, the boy is diagnosed with scarlet fever, a highly contagious disease. The boy takes the rabbit as he recovers, but when the boy is taken away to see other doctors, all of his possessions must be burned, so
That is just objectively not what happens in this, like, 12-page story.
Are you saying that the researchers didn't freaking do good?
That,
What is wrong with you?
He's not taken away to see other doctors. They're taking him to the ocean. So he's done, right? The fever's over or whatever. And they're like, oh, he should go recover, like, by the sea because of fresh air. And that's when they destroy all the toys.
that the scarlet fever has no chance to spread on his belongings. The night before the rabbit is to be burned, he reflects on the happy life he had with the boy and manages to shed a real tear. This summons a fairy that turns the rabbit into a real one for everyone to see, not just the
real
boy,
one.
because the boy truly
The freak is Candy
loved
Money
him.
doing
The
on
next
screen.
spring, the rabbit visits the boy, who is happy to see that the rabbit is real, alive, and living his best life out in
Also, just not what
Dude,
happens.
he's
The
so
boy...
cute.
The boy sees the rabbit. He's like, that looks kind of like my toy, but he never stops and thinks that is literally my toy brought to life. Gong
What
says,
would you know? Maybe Lee got a top secret copy of the book.
maybe he got
What
the
do you know?
director's
director's
You
cut.
got the Scott edition.
When will Tales videos start releasing? Asks Gonk. They will start releasing when I start making them. I'm basically 3 weeks behind where I intended to be in my video production because of He Who Shall Not Be Named. So the Tales are going to be a little later than I expected, but they will be this year. Defix with the $5. You guys should do bingo cards for every FNAF media release, and the winner gets to choose a topic that the losers have to make a video about. We did
We should do that for
bingo.
Secret Artifacts. We did for
This is
Secret
very
Artifacts.
interesting.
Yeah.
Their sound editor and video editors are separate people. That's very interesting.
That makes enough
For
sense.
film theory, they have one guy take care of the sound and other people take care of the visuals. Very interesting.
I think all the Furious channels have the same audio editor, from what I remember.
Okay.
If I had a big team, yeah, I would do that because visuals and sound are different. So I've been asking people this for a couple of years since I've been doing YouTube for so long. When you guys are editing your videos, do you do the sound as you go, or do you kind of do like a final pass and you put in the sound effects and the music?
I've started doing the sound first, then I do the video, and then I tack on the sound effects.
I'll be right back.
That's my process.
Interesting. Bye, TD.
The reason I do that is because I don't have to worry about cutting out the breathing while I'm editing the video, and I always get sidetracked doing that. It's more efficient this way.
I more meant like adding music and when the music changes or when it stops and starts, and then like sound effects and things.
That's like maybe more towards the end of the sound effects, like after I've done the video or while I'm doing the video. It depends. It's like vibes based.
Wild. I mean, guys, come on. Just on the face of things, there are so many parallels between this story and FNAF. First of all, a story about a rabbit
said the P
that wants
word.
to become real. Well, FNAF is a series all about a man obsessed with a rabbit.
Does he mention in the
costume who
flesh
wants to
here?
be reborn. He
'Cause
wants
he
to make
should.
his dead daughter come
Please,
back.
please.
That sort of thing. Those themes line up so perfectly that it's scary. And even if you just want to talk about the movie universe, Abby loved the animatronics. She may want to help them become real by helping them find peace and move on to the afterlife. A darker interpretation could even focus on Mike here. We're pretty sure that his brother
I sent you a
Garrett,
link
who
for you
was
to
killed
watch
by Afton in the
after
previous movie,
stream.
is gonna come back in this
Okay.
movie as the puppet.
I will not
Perhaps
open it.
Mike will have a similar moment here like the boy and the stuffed rabbit, except in reverse. He may see the toy that resembles his real brother and be sad that it's trapped and try to work to free Garrett. But the biggest thing here is the use of fire in the Velveteen Rabbit, a parallel for the dangerous and contagious.
Think about how insane just this screenshot is at this exact moment. And then we'll have flames explode on screen behind this children's book from 100 years ago. Gremlin says it's in the theorist contract that you aren't allowed to mention in the flesh. I disagree. I mention it quite often. If you guys don't know what in the flesh is, maybe you'll want to stick around to the end of the stream.
I think they meant the game theorists. I think MadPat pays them
Oh.
not to talk about it.
Either from the book in the FNAF universe, maybe Remnant. And one of the ways that the game says that you can destroy Remnant is through the use of fire, just like how the rabbit is set to be burned to get rid of any traces of scarlet fever.
Wait,
that may
that's
very well be the
false.
key to defeating the big bad of this movie and freeing whatever spirits are trapped in the pizzeria. If that's the case, that also tells us that the FNAF movie sequel is going to be incorporating elements of both the games FNAF 2 and FNAF 3.
Does he know?
combining elements
Does
of
he know?
both into one story. See, FNAF 3 is not exactly the sort of game that is easily adapted into an exciting film. It's just two characters alone in a building. But at the end of that story, Mike burns down the pizzeria to defeat Afton. That could be moved to the FNAF movie sequel, with Mike and Vanessa burning down Freddy's to release the spirits and destroy any remnant inside. It also opens the door for the series to immediately move on to a bigger adaptation of Sister Location as a way to finish off the movie series, all while mixing in elements of FNAF 4's dream sequences as backstory, maybe for Garrett.
You see, Lee, that could have happened in the movie, but instead we got 40 minutes of a science fair.
Honestly, after sitting here and just thinking about it, that arc makes so much sense. And after spending just way too much time trying to figure out which one of these pages is real, I just can't imagine a better path forward for these movies. But then again, Scott always manages to completely pull the rug out
Yes,
from under
he
us,
does.
revealing a new trapdoor and deeper levels to the story than we could ever imagine, so maybe we'll never escape. But
know
hey,
about that.
that's just a theory. A film theory.
All right. So that was before casting was announced, so we didn't know that like Charlie was going to be in the movie or whatever. But I think this next one wasn't. There's an ad.
What's the date of that video? Of that first one?
A long time ago. I can check the date for this one.
Each week. Check out the Beauty Official Podcast on Hulu.
So this next one is May 4th.
Or wherever you watch or listen.
The teaser
May 4th, 2025 is this one. So I don't know where that falls as far as the trailers and the casting. Who we got? We got 180 people watching, so 40 more have joined us since we started that video. So we're going through all the film theory videos about the FNAF 2 movie before it came out. Also, 80 of you haven't liked it. What are you even doing here if you haven't liked the stream and also typed 14 in chat? What are you even doing?
trailer for Five Nights at Freddy's 2 has finally dropped.
Okay, so this
and it managed to pack
post-trailer.
so much about its plot into just 50 seconds. Enough to solve this movie months before it's out.
Yeah, okay. Sanser, Ness, Shadow Monster Man, Mangle, Chungus, it's all connected. So, I've told the story before, but it bears telling again. The day before the movie came out, me and Unwithered were just talking about all the trailers and all the scenes, and we placed them in chronological order for what we thought the movie would be. Be like, okay, it opens with Charlie's death, and then probably we see Mike and Vanessa on the date, and then we see the the YouTubers, as Dom calls them, going to the location, and then they break out, so then we have the other scenes. And we got through all the scenes we've been shown so far, and we both went, you know what's so crazy is none of these scenes would probably fall in a third act. I bet what happens is there's like a big spoiler, like a baby or a Springtrap who shows up in the third act, which is why they can't show anything from that. Did we know? No, we did not know. There is no third act.
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Film Theory, the show that always comes back. Just like you can always come back by hitting that subscribe button. So, loyal theorists, the time has
They killed
come.
TD.
Five Nights at Freddy's is coming back to theaters.
It's okay, I'm the
this
superior
year.
YouTuber anyway.
We're truly in the end game now, and the marketing for the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 movie has started up, with our first big look into the film coming with its official teaser trailer. Now, obviously, FNAF is a huge part of theorist history. I mean, it feels like we've done literally hundreds of videos about this franchise over at our sister location Game Theory. But the films are an entirely different beast, an entirely different timeline to theorize about. Matt trusted me to take on
Gremlin says, Endgame reference, did he know?
franchises like this as the
True.
theorist. He trusted me to do our very first
Together
theory
we are
predicting
FNAF.
the first movie because he was in it. So it's time to do the same.
Fazvengers.
with FNAF 2. In the past couple of weeks, Tom
Reassemble
and I have
Mangle.
sat down and really put our heads together to
Reassemble.
figure out what the heck is
Or
going
something.
on.
I don't know.
Here. Like, clearly this movie is taking cues from the FNAF 2 game, but that was a prequel to the first game, and this is clearly a sequel. What are the consequences of that change? And what does it mean for the story? Well, it might not look like we have
It
a lot
means
to
that the
work with to figure
toys
that out.
are spring
I mean,
lock
this trailer is
suits.
barely 45 seconds
Wait,
long. Can we really
that's
crack this movie wide
mid.
open with just that?
Actually, I
we
kinda
figured
like
out
it.
More
I lied.
with less, and I think we've done it, loyal theorists. By looking at this teaser,
Oh, he's
comparing
confident.
it to what we know
He's
from the
confident
game
that he got
series,
it. Let's
adding in
see.
our speculation from the fallout of the first movie, and using the rules and laws of filmmaking.
You know what's
and
interesting?
horror
So a lot of people do sort of call out theorist, like game theory and film theory sometime for this. At the end of the video, they go, you know, that's a theory, a game theory. But in the script video, Lee was literally like, I know which one it is, I'm confident. So you know which one it is and you're
I mean,
confident, or is
it's
it just a theory?
also. I mean, it's also like you need to push confidence onto the viewer. You need to like, yeah, I know what you're doing. You're in good hands. I've got everything figured out, and you need to watch my video right freaking now to solve the lore. It's just like YouTuber practice. It's just like basically just the clickbait of FNAF theories. It's just, yeah, I know the truth. I solved. I think it's something everyone
It just
does.
seems like that's kind of scummy. I don't know. Also, it feels like we're just now getting into the video a minute and 41 seconds in.
series like
Yeah.
this, I believe I've solved where this movie is headed months before it's out. And not only that, but I think we can get a pretty good idea of where the inevitable FNAF 3 movie is headed to. So grab your spring lock suits, loyal theorists, as we take a bite out of this teaser. So
Oh, now I'm getting all the ads. I don't even know what this is. Skip.
Okay, first things first, let's make
Slop.
sure we're all on the same
Slop,
page
slop.
after this first movie, just in case
Time to watch
you
my
need a
film
little
theory
refresher.
instead.
And,
Let's
I mean,
go.
It has been a couple of years at this point, so understand.
Are they gonna
Five
recap
Nights
the
at
movie
Freddy's was
again?
the story of
No.
Schmidt, a down on your
Not only did we get
No,
this,
please skip this.
we got this last time. Okay, let's see. We're at 2 minutes and 7 seconds. Let's see how long
Well,
it
you never know.
takes.
There's always one guy who hasn't watched the movie.
I'm Freddy Fazbear. I'm gonna make you
the
scared.
sequel hits, right? Now, with that out of the way, let's go
Okay, that took a little under a minute.
through this
Not
teaser
bad, not
shot
bad.
by shot and frame by frame. We open on a poster for Freddy Fazbear.
Same old slop.
The glass on this poster display is broken, which may mean that it's the same poster we see in the first movie.
Okay, you know what makes me angry about that? So I think it was Hyperdroid, but it may have been Rytoast or someone. When this trailer came out, they looked at that and they said, this is the same one that was broken in the other movie. And I went, aha, no, I have actually paid to more attention than you have, my good sir. Because I actually went back to the first movie and saw the way that the glass looked when it was broken, and it looks completely different. Therefore, this is a different poster. The wall behind it was also different. Therefore, it's a different poster. And no, it just turned out that the set design production people just did it wrong. Because this is a 10 out of 10 movie.
If you don't remember, Max's brother and his gang of hooligans smashed and shattered this
It's right there. Look, he shattered it and the entire pane of glass. Let's watch that again in slow motion. Let's watch this. Let's watch. Okay. Listen. Look at all that glass. The entire pane shattered.
Yeah, the entire thing.
smashed and
Also, there's giant cinder blocks behind it. I don't know about you guys, but like this is what the walls of my high school looked like. Whereas now, this has bricks. Shattered completely differently, bricks versus cinder blocks. I'm like, it's a different poster. Nope.
When they broke into Freddy's in that movie. Not sure if it's exactly
GiBi,
the
our
same
1%
poster, but-
noticer. Elite
showing
reference.
Showing off my
But it
noticing
probably
skills.
doesn't matter since I doubt we'll be spending a significant amount of time here anyway. Regardless, we do know that we are going back to the original pizzeria in some way. We know this thanks to some of our fellow FNAF tubers who did a set visit during the filming of this movie. Here we see that the studio rebuilt a facade of the front of the restaurant, but not the whole thing, so I doubt we're going to be spending a ton of time inside of it. Either way, this is just an establishing shot for us and the teaser, so let's move on. Next, we see a shot of an endoskeleton turning on. If you don't know, these are the mechanical parts inside of the animatronics that let them move and work. We actually see some of them getting worked on in the previous movie, but it's also worth noting that this one from the teaser, it isn't the same type. This is an Endo 02, a more advanced type of endoskeleton that we first saw in the FNAF 2 game. And I mean, hey, that makes sense. Like, it's the FNAF 2 movie, of course they're taking cues from the FNAF 2 game. Anyway, you can tell this thanks to the curved mouth on this one. The original endoskeletons in the first movie had squared off mouths. And there's a voiceover for William Afton welcoming us back to Freddy's.
This is a goated opening. I love this, actually.
It's a nice meta touch to get us back into this world. But in universe, this is likely a recording or a flashback to when one of the restaurants is having its big opening. Since Afton is welcoming us
It's a flashback.
back, I'm guessing that this is the sister location. It just seems more relevant than,
What?
say, the original location undergoing some sort of
Oh.
renovation.
Hold on.
He means another location, not literally sister location.
The sister location. Okay.
Yeah, that was weird.
Reopening just for the sake of it. Either way, I expect that Afton's ghost will be using this audio to great effect. Like,
What? Wait, what? A flashback. He said it was a flashback. Why would it be a ghost?
this is an actual audio recording, I could see him using it to torment Mike and the others. It would just be
What?
super creepy, and I'm all for it. Suddenly, we see ourselves in
That's
some
weird.
sort of circus
Okay.
or fair.
Sure.
The shot
It's
is not
certainly
in the
pretty
movie.
Fazbear themed, since we see kids in the background dressed up as characters from Freddy's. And there are also some themed attractions using those characters here. I'm almost certain that this is going to be an event called FazFest.
Yep.
We know that this is likely going to be a big part of the story, since those YouTubers I mentioned earlier, like Daco, visited the set and found posters for this event. Now, this is interesting because the idea of a circus or of a carnival or fair is a big talking point in the FNAF community right now. I briefly mentioned this in my last FNAF movie theory, but in the lore of the Freddy's games, there was an event called Fall Fest that ran from around 1970 until at least 1983. It's a huge part of the history of these characters in this world, and Scott seems to be bringing these ideas into the film universe in a new way. Let's be real, that makes sense with the way the movies have been streamlining and combining
Sure.
the expansive lore of the series, so yeah. The next thing we see is Abby pulling up to the second Freddy's location on her bike. This is the sister location, so to speak. So there are actually a few
Thank
things
you,
we can
editor.
gather from
Not
this
that
shot.
sister location.
First
Har,
off,
har,
if you look
har.
at both the state of the restaurant and the surrounding area, this location has been abandoned for a long time. The outside of the building is run down, and the parking lot is overgrown with weeds and grass and the like. We can actually see this more clearly in those behind-the-scenes set visits from the FNAF tubers. Oh, and funnily enough, this building is actually in the same parking lot as the facade of the first Freddy's location that they built for this movie, but just so everyone's aware,
On Vinted, turn
Bruh.
extra clothes into
Why wouldn't they
cash.
be? If you're a
Sell with
film
zero
studio and you're only
fees.
using
Don't
one
wear
lot,
it,
of course
sell
you put the
it.
facades in the same place. Like they don't build the interior of the building and the exterior in the same spot. The interior is going to be on a soundstage so they can control like all the lighting and stuff.
doesn't mean that they're going to be in the same location or even anywhere close to each other in the actual movie. Film productions do this sort of thing all the time, reusing sets and locations and either changing the camera angles or background details to make them
Minecraft.
seem like different locations. It just saves on production costs, which is almost certainly what's happening here since this is a relatively low budget
Same old
horror
building.
film. Anyway, the
Thank you,
second thing
tax
that we
the
can gather from
toaster.
this shot of Abby, well, given Abby's expression here, she's likely never been to this location before. So, she's likely been drawn here by something. And I think I know
Wait,
what
that's
that thing
true.
is.
It's
Right
probably
after
the
this
thing
in the
that's
teaser, we
focused
see a
on in
shot
the
of
entire
Mike finding a
trailer,
note taped
the
to his
Fast
door,
Talker.
reading, "Gone to fix my friends." This is probably from Abby and is explaining why she's left and gone to the sister location. The friends that she's talking about here in the note are probably the ghosts in the original animatronics.
Any
If you
place Abby
remember,
goes is a
was
sister
super close to
location,
them in the
says
previous
Seeker.
film, enough so that they wanted her to be like them. But they
Wait,
seemed
that's
to
true.
end the last movie in a little bit of peace. So this note tells us that they're still in contact with with Abby and that something has gone wrong since the last movie. Now, that thing that's gone wrong could be a lot of things. Being trapped in new animatronic bodies, being tortured by Afton's ghost, but another
Why
big
does he think
option
Afton
for
has a
Fazan-
ghost?
Why did Fazan just materialize and disappear again? Did you notice that?
Oh no.
Bro said his job.
Why does he think that William's a ghost? Like, he knows how Springtrap works.
I think he assumes he's like astral projecting himself, which is how he's gonna set up for FNAF.
Oh,
3.
Kelsey,
I think
yes.
The eye
Springtrap's
is
a
on little
projection.
rogue in these
Springtrap's a
animatronics and is somehow
projection.
controlled.
If you guys don't know why people say things like Springtrap is a projection, maybe you should stick around for the end of the stream.
Wait,
Also like it.
that's
hurting the
true.
spirits. Anyway, we might also know how they're talking to Abby. During one
You
of
can
his
join
charity
Fazan if you
live
want to. He said he didn't know that we were live. You can join.
streams, Daka revealed an image of a Fast Talker toy provided to him by the film's production, with a screen on it reading, "You there?" Basically, if I had to guess, this looks like a way that the ghosts are communicating with the living characters. Now, this thing is strange because nothing like it has ever really appeared in the games. The closest we
Wait,
get
that's
is Afton's
true.
walkie-talkie in Sister Location, which
Re-
uses to communicate with the crying
It's not a
child.
walkie-talkie, it's a camera
This is
controller,
weird
Lee,
and different
please.
than what we're seeing here. The ghosts in the film seem to be able to just talk to Abby and communicate with other characters like Mike through their dreams. So perhaps this Fast Talker is a way
It is kind of crazy that Kelsey could just appear and be at their house and be like sitting on Abby's bed in ghost form in the first movie, but now can't do literally anything unless Mike walks into the restaurant and says, please come help us. Although I guess they are holding back William, but also like, what does that even entail? What does that mean? Tell us how your magic works, Scott. Corthin.
for them to do so without
magic of
leaving
I
them
made
to
it
be
up.
asleep. We then see a
How Wizard
conversation
did it.
between Vanessa and Mike, where Vanessa
Yeah.
is warning
Don't worry
Max.
about it.
They're out there, Mike.
It's just one thing after another with you.
She's likely talking about the animatronics, which we'll get to in just a sec. But the big things here? Well, first off, Vanessa has completely recovered
Why does
from her
Mike say he
hospital
wants to
stay.
put Vanessa
I
back
guess
together?
perhaps she
Could this
was not.
confirm Shatterbeth?
No, it's because
a
Vanessa's a
thought.
robot. Vanessa's a robot in the movie.
No, well, have we considered Shatterbeth? That's the real connection.
The Beth who shattered.
A robot,
True.
as much as Matt
Pheasant
have
would know
wanted her
all
to
about
be.
that.
But the other big thing here is that she's not wearing her cop uniform, either here or in any other shot in the teaser. Don't get me wrong, she could still be a cop and just be taking some time off or something, but this tells me that she's either stepped back from that role or has been let go from the force for
She does wear it at another point in the movie, so like, oh no, I don't know, I think this is a weird conclusion to draw.
some reason. We see another shot of her holding a gun later in the teaser, so she might still be on the force, but I wouldn't be surprised if her connection to a serial killer was somehow revealed and
Mr. Scott, I wonder if that was ever addressed at any point in the movie. No, it wasn't.
compromised her job. But anyway, why was she warning Mike that they're out there? Well, that's because of the next few shots that we see here. Yeah, we immediately see what looks like Toy Bonnie peeking in through a curtain into a window of a house. Shortly afterwards, there are a couple of other shots of Toy Bonnie lifting up some sort of needle as if he's about to attack somebody, and then a shot of a couple cowering in fear inside of a living room. These two shots are back to back, and though trailer editing doesn't mean that they're 100%
True,
connected,
'cause it's
I'd
Toy
be
Freddy
shocked
who's
if
with the
they
couple.
weren't. Big picture here, though.
Well, you're
is that
shocked
Toy
then,
Bonnie
takes 2
and
damage.
The other toy animatronics, as we're about to see, are no longer confined to the pizzeria, and that's a huge deal. See, the animatronics going out and about isn't really a thing that we ever see in the game series. The closest thing I can think of is
Does
in
he
Sister
know?
Location when
Does he know?
I don't think he knows.
Toy, what do they call it? Toy assassin? What's that theory?
Killbot.
Killbot, that's it.
Innard leaves the Sister Location wearing Michael as a skin suit. But that's not nearly the same as the animatronics, just like straight up roaming the streets like we see here. This is extra strange too, because it's established in the series that this would be pretty difficult for them. Glamrock Freddy from Security Breach explains that if the animatronics leave the Pizzaplex, they will eventually run out of power. Some endings have Freddy using a car battery to stay active because of this. And it's not just the Security Breach animatronics either, but in the Week Before novel, a story set in the week before the FNAF 1 video game, one of the main goals of the original animatronics is to be able to leave the pizzeria. To do this, they overcharge themselves so they don't need to charge themselves again, at least for a while. These toy animatronics might need to recharge at some point, giving our heroes a ticking clock that they can outlast as the animatronics slowly have to power down, perhaps over a series of days. So basically, they'd have to survive 5 nights at Freddy's, or
You'd think so. But
Wait,
it's not the toys that
you
run
should-
out of power. It's the
Hold on, say that
classics.
again.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
Say that again. I didn't hear it the first time.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
Wait. Could this confirm Shatterbuff?
Yes.
Right, I don't even know what I'm saying. Move on.
Rather
Neither
Five
does
Nights
Lee.
Outside of Freddy's. Of course, this scene with Toy Bonnie isn't the
Assassin's
only scene throughout the teaser
Creed.
with the animatronics outside of the pizzeria. Later on, we see a man played by classic character actor Wayne Knight peering through a closet window in a school. He sees Toy Chica on the other side before she pulls him through the window, presumably to his death. We also see her feet in a room similar to this, but likely before or after she's pulled this man into the room, as well as a shot of Toy Chica opening some sort of garage with her hands. There's also shots of Mangle breaking in through a window in a house, another one of Mangle crashing into a car windshield, and then someone getting attacked and pulled up to the ceiling by Mangle. It looks like that last scene probably also takes place in this school, and another shot shortly after this sees another new character, a blonde girl, looking up and screaming. Given the angle of this shot looking down at this girl, this is likely from Mangle's point of view. I wouldn't be surprised if it's immediately connected with the shot of Mangle pulling the other guy up to the ceiling. If I were to guess, this is likely a scene similar to the first movie where a bunch of side characters are killed to show just how dangerous these new animatronics are. I wouldn't be surprised if these characters go to school with Abby and are bullies or something similarly unlikable. We also see another shot of Mike, Abby, and Vanessa in what looks like an office in the school or some random house, looking terrified. So I'm
Literally just Michael's house. It is a new set. It's a new house, but it's literally Mike's house. What's up, Fazant? How you doing?
Yo, what's up?
What's up, Freddy
This sequence
Fazant?
is actually a big set piece for the movie. We then see a man's hand pressing a Showtime button to start an animatronic show. This is likely at the sister location since we see a different Showtime button in
Oh no, not Hero Wars. Ah,
Same old Hero Wars.
same old Hero Wars. At least I'm getting different ads this time.
I swear they make like 200 of these, so
Same
you
old
always get a
phones.
different
Peak,
one.
We need those back.
moments on a wall, not a podium. Next
else
up, we
remembers
have
the
a
same
shot
old
of a
phone screen?
silhouetted man
Same
in a
old
hallway
phone.
as doors fly open. This is actually a really effective shot, in my opinion. It's very creepy. This man is almost certainly William Afton.
Yeah, but
His
they didn't do the Scooby-Doo thing. They didn't have them run into one door and out the other, so they wasted it.
build just looks a lot like
Well,
actor
that's for
Matthew
Springtrap
Lillard, and
in
we
the
know that
FNAF
he's
3
going to
movie.
be in this movie
As long as it's
somewhere.
Matthew
I'm gonna
Lillard.
say that this is either a dream sequence where he's haunting Mike and Vanessa, or it's literally his ghost haunting the two. Also worth noting that there are 6 doors in this scene, perhaps representing the
6th
5 kids
closet?
that Afton murdered from the restaurants, and Mike and Abby's brother Garrett, whom he also killed. This is likely setting up or reminding us of Afton's connection with Mike. And
Like, listen, guys, I'm a the curtains are never just blue person, but there are 6 doors in the shot to symbolize the 6 kids. Like, I don't know, dude. I think maybe we should just analyze trailers a little less. I'm sorry.
Garrett, which will be explored later in the series. Actually, while we're on the
Well,
subject,
actually,
I
they symbolize the
think
flip
it's
side, but you're not
surprising
ready for
the
that.
lack of Afton that we actually get in this teaser. Other
I'm
than
not
some
joking, by the way.
voiceover and this scene here, the only other hint we get
You think Vanessa's dreams are the flip side? Like dreams in the movies are
Partially,
equivalent to like
yes.
the games? Yeah,
Partially, yes.
I agree.
Yes.
I agree.
Good. Glad you're right.
is a shot of Spring Bonnie's hand picking up a knife. I wouldn't be shocked if he's just not as present in this film as
So they have been showing in the other videos, but I think this is the first time that we look and we can really see the movie Springtrap design with this really weird render of a icky looking hand. Like, we don't know what this is, but it looks kind of bad because it looks so different than the movie render.
Oh yeah, I
It's
remember
so
that.
weird.
Yeah.
he was in the first one. I mean, it would be weird for him to come back as a big twist third act villain when that's exactly what he did in the first movie, right? The time spent with Afton here in this second movie, in my opinion, would be better spent setting him up as a larger villain in the third film. But I digress. Now we get a shot of a large Balloon Boy animatronic, eyes
Balloon
glowing
Boy's
as
a
he activates
projector.
inside one of the pizzerias. You can tell that it's that because of the checkerboard pattern here in the back of the shot. It's just classic FNAF imagery. Balloon Boy actually returns here from the first movie where he was just like a strange haunted figurine. Talk about a glow up, am I right? So the fact that we're getting a Balloon Boy animatronic isn't that surprising. I mean, he was in the FNAF 2 game after all. But an interesting connection here that we put together? Well, in Tom's very first FNAF theory as host of Game Theory, he talked about the Fall Fest and how that makes Balloon Boy make way more sense. Like, a guy holding balloons doesn't really fit super well with animal animatronics, right? But it would make sense at something like a carnival or a circus. A character walking around handing out balloons to kids and visitors. The fact that the movie seems to be rolling the idea of the circus in here with Fast Fest just really makes that work even more. And finally, we hear Afton yell showtime before we see Toy Freddy walking through Fast Fest. If you notice, there are tons of other cosplayers here in the background, and it's just a really cool touch. Now then, that's all of the shots from the trailer, but what can we learn here by reading between the lines? And can we look back at some of our previous speculation and see how it lines up? Well, the first big flag that Matt and I planted in our speculation about the rest of the FNAF movie series was that Garrett, Mike's brother that Afton killed, was
Is Balloon Boy, obviously, the only logical guess here. What's up, Impulse7? If you want to join the call, we're in T-Dread server, you can just hop in.
going to replace Charlie as the spirit possessing the puppet. If you don't remember,
If
the
only.
puppet was an animatronic.
I mean, I got nothing
introduced in
wrong.
FNAF
I got
2,
no problem
so
with
again, it would
Charlie
make sense
in
for
the
them to
movie,
show up
but,
in
like,
this movie. Our big reasoning
jeez.
was that this would give Mike even more of a connection to Afton, offer some real emotional stakes.
Well,
to
those who know
ghosts
that
in the
Garrett is
series,
just
and
the
that puppet
David
was
of the
teased
movie
in the credits
universe.
of the first movie,
Mhm.
spelling out "Come Find Me." Go check out our
Wait,
full
that's
theory
true.
talking about that if you want all the details. Well, this teaser gives us another big indication that the puppet is going to be a big player in the rest of this story, whether it's in this movie or another sequel. During some of Afton's voiceover in this teaser, we can hear the music box used to keep the puppet at bay in the FNAF 2 game playing in the background.
Welcome back. Are you ready to start the show?
So yeah, keep your eyes and ears peeled for more references to this and any indication that this version of the puppet is Garrett, because that is absolutely an arc that they're following here. A prediction that I'm a little less confident in, though, is my analysis of the script pages that Scott released. If you don't remember, last year
Oh,
in
wait.
honor of the 10th
I don't remember this. Does he change his mind on which page it is? That's very interesting. I didn't know about that. Also, Fredden, if you want to join, you can do that too.
10-year anniversary of FNAF, Scott released 4 pages of the script for FNAF 2, but the catch was that only one of them was real. If you want an in-depth look at these pages and an analysis of them, go check out my theory from last year.
Oh, we
But
did,
the one that
Lee,
I thought
we
was going to be a
did.
real one was this one, which talked about haunted plushies and Mike coming to the realization that he'd need to burn them. At the time, I was confident that this was pointing to the toy animatronics being the villains of this movie and the need to destroy them. But after this teaser, I'm just less sure about that. I mean, hey, you can't get them all right all the time. See, Abby is the one encouraging Mike to burn the toys in this page, but that doesn't line up with what we see here in the teaser, where it looks like she's the one who wants to help save the plushies. So what does that mean for the pages? Well, if this one isn't correct, then I think the 4th page is. This one is from the cold open of the movie.
No,
describing a
no,
man
he still got it wrong.
Wait, what did he say for this one?
He's saying it's the
What was it?
carousel one.
Oh, well, that's a
I think-
reasonable
Isn't the
one.
only reason he doesn't think it's the Chica one, the real one, is because the page it says it's on?
Yeah, he
He's
said
like, this is too early.
it would happen too early in the movie, which it's because he assumes the movie has an Act 3 when it doesn't. So we can all rule out the military one, meaning of the 3 real options, he guessed the 2 that it wasn't. That's crazy.
children into what we believe to be one of the pizzerias and into a secret room underneath its carousel. This
Right, and that's not necessarily like a dig at Lee, it's partially a dig at Scott and like the way that the movie is structured.
Oh, Scott Cawthon.
Mr. Corthan.
is an entirely realistic
Scotty,
option.
Scotty C.
It actually came down to this one and the plushie burning page, but the reason I didn't go with it originally was because some of the characters present in the script probably shouldn't have been here. But now, especially with how the FNAF movie franchise is mixing and matching elements from across the entire game series and timeline, I'm less sure about that. So, okay, if this page is legit, then that then begs the question, who is this guy? This man leading these kids into some level below the pizzeria? Well, obvious answer would be Afton, and that this is some sort of flashback, but the page really implies that these kids are his actual children. We don't see Vanessa here in this flashback, so I don't think that this is Afton. So, who is it? Well, I believe that it's the person who's taken over Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria and is the entire reason this second movie is happening. Hear me out. So, I'm pretty sure that the shot of Toy Freddy walking through FazFest is set in the film's modern day and not during a flashback. Why do I think that? Well, think back to those set visit videos we talked about earlier. In those, Dawko and the other FNAF tubers found posters for FazFest on the facade of the rundown buildings. If this FazFest was set in the past, or during a flashback, the building shouldn't be nearly this rundown. So, okay, FazFest is set during the modern day, but what does that matter? Well, think about this. The last time that we saw Afton, he was dying in his Springlock suit and his soul was being tortured by Golden Freddy. So, if FazFest is set in the current day, and if Afton, the person who owns the Freddy Fazbear franchise, is dead, who is putting on FazFest? Well, if I were a betting man, just like in FNAF 3 where some third party came in and bought all of the Freddy Fazbear assets to make a horror attraction, someone came in and bought all of Afton's assets after he died, and they're trying to relaunch the Freddy IP with this FazFest. That is the guy from the cold open page. Oh, and as an aside, this could also explain why Abby feels like she needs to go help her friends. If a new group or company has come in and bought up all of the Freddy Fazbear assets and are trying to relaunch things, they may have taken parts from the previous animatronics to sort of repair or enhance the toy animatronics. And if they mixed and matched parts from the different animatronics, that could leave the spirits feeling mixed up and confused, similar to how the Funtime animatronics from the games were built using Remnant, which just jumbled up their spirits. If you don't know what Remnant is...
Bruh. I mean, that wasn't a bad guess based on what we see, but I don't know why he would deduce that, like, the random man in the beginning taking his kids to the Freddy's 2 location is, like, the Freddy scary place, the Fazbear's Fright person. Like, that's kind of a big leap. I have a feeling, and I think we learned this lesson from the Faz Talker, being, like, the only piece of information we knew about this movie before it came out, that we look at things in the trailer and we go, this thing in the trailer must be the most important thing in the movie because it's the only thing that we've seen so far, when it's just a thing in a trailer. Big leap.
Yeah, the Faz Talker was nothing.
Yeah.
Bless you, you sweet summer child. It's a long story and not super relevant to this theory today, so just don't worry about it. Anyway, I believe that is the underlying storyline of this film. Someone new has come in to buy up Freddy, and they stumbled into something way darker than they anticipated. They somehow activated the toy animatronics, angered the ghosts, and now they're on a killing rampage through this town. So Mike, Abby, and Vanessa have to stop the animatronics while helping to save the ghosts, all while they're haunted by the memory of Afton and Garrett. Perhaps literally. So that's a lot, and while that's everything I think we can glean about this movie from this teaser, I do believe we can sit down and look at what they've shown us here and get an idea of where future FNAF movies are going to. See, the very fact that we see the animatronics out and about, in neighborhoods and carnivals and schools in this movie means that the FNAF film franchise is following an arc traditional for these sorts of horror films. With every single film, they need to be going bigger and better than the last, from one building to a larger neighborhood and a school in FNAF's case. And that tells us a lot about the stories they're going to adapt for the third film. We've talked about this in previous FNAF movie theories before, about how a third FNAF movie likely isn't adapting FNAF 3 because it isn't
Does
as
he
exciting
know?
a game to transfer to the big screen. Like, if they kept things super faithful,
Dude, this is the most insane take I've seen about the movies.
Old building for an hour and a half. It's not exactly riveting.
We've got to remember,
And
we've got
after
way
watching
more
this-
context than Lee had back then.
Yeah, but I think you could have always assumed that FNAF, the third movie, would be the third game to an extent, / like the Silver Eyes, right? You kind of mix them together. I think it'll be
Yeah.
3 in Sister Location and Fourth Closet all jumbled together.
That's just a weird thing to say when that was also like something people talked about for the first movie. Like, how are they going to make a movie out of this? You just sit in an office and survive for 5 nights. Like, clearly, you know,
Yeah.
they're going to take liberties.
Yeah, like Vanessa will be there or something.
Teaser, I think Scott and the filmmakers have realized this too, because they already seem to be incorporating a lot of the more interesting details from the FNAF 3 game into this movie, with someone new coming in to restart Freddy's. Because they're already likely using that plot point from the FNAF 3 game, I doubt that they'd reuse it in the FNAF 3 movie. So they'll need to do something else. FNAF 4 and being stuck in a dream makes even less sense because it's
that's
so heavy
UCN,
and weird
not
and
FNAF
isn't the
4,
escalation that the filmmakers are probably looking for. Right, a dream just feels smaller instead of going bigger. That's the natural arc of these sorts of films. And why eventually we get movies like Jason X where they jumped the shark so high they ended up in space. So think that through. We went from being in one location in FNAF 1, the pizzeria, where most of the hauntings happen in a single place. Once you actually leave Freddy Fazbear's, the characters were more or less safe for the rest of the movie. Now we're in FNAF.
I'm also going to say, he keeps saying, like, oh, there's the traditional arc for this kind of horror movie. No, it's not. Traditionally, these horror movies end and they kill the monster, and then the next one they need to sort of, like, bring the monster back in some contrived way, because the last one was always thought to be, like, the finale of the series. So, you know, having a trilogy planned out is very different than the way the typical slasher movies are made.
The threats and hauntings have escalated outwards. The animatronics are no longer confined to a single location. They're out and about, attacking people in a wider set of locations like in a neighborhood or at a school. So what would a third movie need to do to go even bigger than that? My first thought was that maybe, hey, they'll pull a Jurassic...
Okay, is this background AI? Yes, it is. This background is AI.
Let me have a look.
Okay. Look at the legs of the... Okay. Look at how this checkerboard extends on to the stage, which is impossible.
Onto the stage.
The
and
legs
the
of
posters
pinball
at the back
machines.
look odd.
Like, this should be a foot to the right and be here. Nothing is symmetrical. This is AI. What are you doing, Lee? Yeah,
it's not Lee, it's not Lee.
I know. I'm sorry.
It's
it's just a person at theory, so we should not blame Lee for this. But yeah, like... Look at this checkerboard extending from this to this. This is bad.
Lock in, guys. Lock in.
Lock in.
Jurassic Park 2, and we'll end up in a city of some sort.
Impulse 11 says, or they just did a bad job of editing it together. Possibly, but like look at the feet of this pinball machine over here on the right. They're just going in completely different directions.
And then I thought, nah, that'd be kind of dumb. Like, what is Scott gonna do here? Pull out the old Plushies Take Manhattan script? No, man, no. They could do something similar to Pizzeria Simulator, but I'm also skeptical of that simply because they don't really have enough characters to do the whole gather and burn it all down like we see in that game. 2 movies worth of animatronics just isn't enough, so what's the next logical step then? Well, say it with me, security breach. I mean, yeah, we saw that coming. We already have Vanessa as a main character in these films. A large mall or building like a pizzaplex is a natural escalation for these sorts of horror film franchises. This would let us introduce another new slate of animatronic characters that fit the cast that we've established in these movies, and the bones of the security breach story would allow for closure for Mike, Abby, and Vanessa. They could end the story by burning everything down and releasing the spirits of the dead kids, all while moving on from the trauma and experience themselves. Plus, it would allow for this FNAF movie trilogy to hit all of the biggest and most recognizable parts of the FNAF games, while leaving other, more out there projects like Help Wanted or the novels open for adaptation down the line should the movie franchise be successful enough to continue. It all just makes too much sense, and that's why I'm planting my flag here now. Five Nights at Freddy's 3 is going to be a security breach adaptation.
Chat, is he cooked? Or is he cooking?
And hey, maybe if it does well enough, one day we'll get far enough along in this series to adapt FNAF World.
Does he know?
I actually think that would legitimately be pretty cool.
Let's go.
Hey, that's just a theory.
What is Bro waffling about? Says Impulse. Yeah. That was very odd. This next one, which is now August of 2025. This is where I think he goes a little off the rails.
For Five Nights at Freddy's 2 proved one of our old theories wrong, reopening the question, who is Mike's brother Garrett? What role is he going to play? What ghost is he going to be in this series? Well, though the trailer might have proven one old theory incorrect, another one might actually be right.
Someone in chat said, didn't they do a whole video about AI? Yes, which is why I think we should hold them to a higher standard. And sometimes it is hard to, tell the difference between AI and a not AI picture, but that one was so blatant, and the one that they're going to use in the future is even more blatant, that I kind of don't give them a pass at all.
Hello internets, welcome to Film Theory, the show that is once again talking about Five Nights at Freddy's. Second week in a row. Like, what are we, Game Theory? Yeah, in case you missed it, the new trailer for the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 movie dropped a few weeks ago, and I'm consistently amazed at just how much the filmmakers, and Scott specifically, are able to pack into these 2-minute trailers and teasers. I don't know how long this video is going to end up being, but like last week's FNAF Theory...
Actually, you do, because it's edited, and it's 15 minutes long, and you could just cut out that line, and it would be shorter. You know how I was saying earlier, wow, they got into the meat of the video 14 seconds in. We're 42 seconds in. He hasn't started talking yet.
The big pieces of the trailer was like just under 20 minutes. And this one will probably be pretty close-ish to that too. So it's just too dense. Anyway, in that breakdown last week, one of the big pieces we put together was that FNAF 2 is almost certainly going to feature a character named Charlie Emily, a little girl from the...
Wait, is that... This is just not in the playlist. I'm on the Film Theory actual YouTube channel. And I'm going down their playlist of FNAF 2 videos. They'll find, like... I guess we skipped one, because Film Theory forgot to put it in their playlist. Oh well.
Lore of the FNAF games, who would go on to die and possess the puppet. The puppet is the big new scary animatronic in this movie, so it makes sense that Charlie's gonna take that same role in the movieverse. But this creates a bit of a problem for us here at Theorist. See, Matt and I previously speculated that another character was going to be taking Charlie's place as the puppet. That theory is years old at this point. Go check it out if you want a refresher, but I felt pretty confident in it until this new trailer. It just made sense to me that they were going to try to condense the characters in the film series to try to make it simpler for a mainstream audience, but clearly that isn't the direction they're headed in for the series. What, a FNAF product being convoluted and confusing? No. And yet, Garrett is a massive loose end, a dangling thread that Scott and the filmmakers set up that would be really disappointing if they...
I feel like it's actually only more confusing to somebody who knows FNAF. I feel like it's not that confusing if you don't know.
Yeah, he still hasn't started talking about the trailer, and we're a minute in. Okay, so I found the video that was skipped over in the playlist, which is kind of funny. Okay, so we're probably gonna watch this and not finish the other one for today. I do kind of want to be done by 2:30. Probably 2:45 at this point. So we're gonna watch this one that we skipped over because Film Theory doesn't know what they're doing.
The new trailer for Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is finally here. And not to hype things up, but
this Oblivion
one
music
tells us exactly what Scott has planned for the series headed forward.
I think it's Oblivion
I guess you could say he's the real puppet master here.
I don't know. It sounds Oblivion-esque. I've never played Oblivion.
Welcome to Film Theory, the show that's wearing a giant animatronic bear head today. I'm blending in with Game Theory videos right now. So, did you guys see the new FNAF 2 trailer? Well, listen, at this point, if you're familiar with the Theorist channels at all, you know we cover a lot of Five Nights at Freddy's. It feels like we've made hundreds of videos trying to solve the lore of this thing. Fun fact, but as many of you know, I was actually a video editor over on Game Theory before.
Wow, 40 seconds in, we haven't started the video. Did you guys know that 100 of you haven't liked the stream yet? What are you doing? Bye, Violet Poppy. Hope you have a good rest of your day. What's even going on here?
Even started up. I was here where the first FNAF theories got made.
Criminal.
Though I somehow managed to avoid
Like the
working
stream
on
right
them until
freaking
like
now.
2020. I was pulling a Neo and dodging all those bullets, man. But let me experience those theories as a fan, something most of the team didn't get to do. I also had the cool experience.
So Hester saying I'm impatient. It's just good, like, video making-ness to sort of jump into the topic as soon as you can, and typically you should do it in the first minute. And as we pointed out last time, he started in the first 14 seconds. In the first video we looked at, it's been a minute and he's not even begun.
Theory on the first movie when Matt was actually
It's
in
just
that
good
movie,
algo maxing.
Yeah, I think it might take him 3 minutes to start based on the chapter
He didn't tell me anything
thing.
about it before that video came out, so the video wasn't really compromised, and he trusted me with that responsibility. But needless to say, my relationship with FNAF and theorizing about it, it's unique, which is why I'm happy to say that I'm really excited about Five Nights at Freddy's 2, especially after the latest trailer dropped a couple weeks ago. I thought the first film was a good foundation for this series, a solid adaptation that did capture the heart of FNAF, but had area for improvement. But with this new trailer, dude, the budget bump is real. The sets, the costumes, the cinematography, everything is
Cinematography, they put the camera on the ground.
The artists once again crushed it on the animatronic.
Did you know you can point a camera at
The
things
people who made those animatronics
and
are
move the
actually
camera?
fine folks over at the Jim Henson Creature Shop. You probably know them best for their work on stuff like Sesame Street and The Muppets and like the head that Deadmau5 used to wear. Yeah, like the musician. We've been tracking this film every step of the way. We speculated about it using the first movie and its novelization. We tried to work out the entire plot after Scott released some maybe real, maybe fake script pages during the FNAF anniversary event, and we decoded
We're
the
still
first teaser
just
earlier
yapping.
this year. And now that we have this this new full trailer, I want to continue the trend. I want to take everything we've seen up until now and see if this trailer shines a new light on that information. What else does this trailer tell us? What can we learn about the story of this new movie from the split-second shots and
Okay, so that should have been the first line of the video, and then we should
mysterious
start.
voiceover? Honestly, this is some of my favorite parts of theorizing. This new trailer both confirms and debunks some of our previous theories, which I think is awesome. They're keeping us on our toes, keeping us guessing, and we as a theorist community can have some real fun again, just digging into movie predictions. And real talk, but I think that this trailer legitimately changed where I thought this movie franchise was headed.
Obviously.
So put on your Freddy masks and
Thank
crank
you,
that music box,
ADV727,
loyal
for
theorists.
becoming
We're
a
jump
night
scaring into this
guard.
trailer. So going in here, I'm gonna be
Impulse says, I'm cool with anecdotes to start a video, but bro is waffling. Yes.
trying to put these scenes.
Here's my thing. Early game theory, I mean the first ever FNAF theory, MatPat's doing his little fan skit for like 5 minutes, literally. But I think that, like, Lee probably used to edit the scripts for Matt, and, like, Tom used to edit scripts for Matt. I don't know if they have editors, so now it's just kind of like, it feels like now it's just Lee's voice writing the scripts, as opposed to Lee editing Matt, or Matt editing Lee. So it just feels like things are less optimal, as T-Dreads would say.
Together by group, trying to sort them into either where they go in the movie or by their narrative purpose. So cool? Cool. The first section of the trailer I want to cover involves what I'm going to call the Freddy Fazbear break-in. And it actually starts with the very
He thinks
first
this is
shot,
before
where we
Charlie's
get this
death?
blue van driving down a street during a rainy night. The license plate here reads out, "I see dead people," a fun little reference to The Sixth Sense.
No way.
But another fun reference? Well, the van is basically identical to the one we see in Security Breach and in Secret of the Mimic. Now, I don't think that's really
Basically
significant
identical,
or
it's just a
anything like
van.
that. Secret of the Mimic takes place in the 70s, Security Breach in the 2020s, and we're pretty sure these movies are set in the early to mid 2000s, so it's just a fun reference.
Another morning walk with
I'd rather look at this dog than go through those 3 minutes again. Also, basically the same van, is just blue.
Characters
Doesn't have a
led by
stripe.
A woman played by actress McKenna Grace step out of the van with flashlights, clearly looking to break into Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. She explains that this was the original Freddy's location, while the one we saw in the first film was a franchise location. Basically, it was an expansion of that brand. Funnily enough, this actually lines up with ancient theories we had about FNAF 2's restaurant being the original location all the way back when that game first released. That got jumbled by retcon after retcon, and it became really unclear over the years.
There's
but
only
I
been
guess
one
this is Scott
retcon,
trying to really
Lee.
clean up the lore with the movieverse. Oh, and
Can't
side note,
believe
but
it's
it's
Yeah,
also
it was
worth
obviously
noting that
20
McKenna
years.
Grace played a big part in the most
I
recent
cannot believe
Ghostbusters
that's McKenna
movie,
Grace
and
in
now she's
Ghostbusters.
here
I
hunting
disagree.
ghosts
It's not
elsewhere.
her.
Yeah, well, I previously
Fake
speculated
news.
that these characters might be some sort of school bullies that would be killed by the animatronics during the climax of the movie. That clearly isn't the case. I've seen it reported online that they're instead paranormal investigators, and though I haven't found a primary source confirming this, that does seem pretty on point to me. As an avid fan of cryptids, the paranormal and ghost hunting contents, they have all the sort of gear you'd expect. And it's also fun to see a professional Hollywood studio's take on this. Like, we see one of the men here holding a video camera filming.
So that shot right there showed 4 people, like it showed Freddie Carter's Michael. I wonder if he brings that up.
Everything inside of the restaurant, while McKenna Grace's character is holding an audio recorder. Obviously, you'd want a video camera to capture evidence of ghosts and such, and it's commonly believed that audio recording equipment like this can more easily pick up noises from ghosts or other paranormal.
That is so true, the HM Kane. If you hit the thumbs up beneath this stream, if you like this stream, it will decrease the padding in future game theory videos. So you got to make sure you guys do that.
Entities when they try to communicate than the human ear. This is probably why McKenna Grace asks, "Do you guys hear that?" And the others question what she's even talking about. It looks like she's the only one listening through headphones here, so she's probably the only one hearing stuff only picked up by the audio recorder. There's also some faint music box melody playing in the background here during this bit, which will become quite relevant in just a moment. That being said, I also don't see other equipment you'd typically find for these sort of ghost hunting crews. They don't have a spectrometer, an EMF meter, a thermal temperature reader, or even a Microsoft Kinect. Yeah, that piece of garbage is being used in ghost hunting now. Though, if these films are supposed to be set in the early to mid 2000s, then I guess it would make sense that they would.
Then why did you mention it?
Out yet. Oh, and just because I wanted to mention this, I did actually try to identify.
I know most of the script is just because I wanted to mention it, Lee. We get it. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm trying to be a little more professional. I'm sorry. I'm not actually this angry. I just think maybe your scripts need to be a little tighter.
pinpoint a model and year it was released. Basically trying to catch the filmmakers using stuff that wouldn't have existed at the time. But I just couldn't do it. I even brought on our live action producers, and Tom, who's had experience working with cameras and TV, and they called this camera, quote, painfully generic. So, yeah. They even, like, gaffed over the...
Why wouldn't they bring on Tom?
Like,
Listen, it's really cool that you tried to find, like, what camera it was, but, like, you didn't, and you don't need to go into this much detail. Like, what was it? One of Candy Bunny's videos, she tried to look into, like, what kind of phone would have been available when the week before it came out, and, like, that was a cool process of, like, tracking it down and eventually finding what she thought it was. This is just, like, you guys know Tom from Game Theory. He looked at this camera and said, it's a camera.
Put tape over it so you couldn't see it. Gotta make sure you're not giving anyone an unintentional brand deal, huh? Speaking of which, does this look familiar?
And then to segue, like, we barely started the video and we're already doing, I don't know. Okay, let's go.
On the floor, old merch in the form of plushies, a creepy shot of a worn-down Balloon Boy statue, though notably not the animatronic Balloon Boy we saw in the first teaser, and most interestingly to me, a pirate.
If they don't bring up that there's the fourth person here with the camera crew, but they looked into the camera for that long, that would be crazy.
This wasn't really a thing in the FNAF 2 game, and if anything, this
feeling it'll be crazy.
Way more of the Pirate Cove area.
I genuinely do not remember this video.
I'm not sure if that's going to end up meaning something significant for this movie, or if this is just another case of the film series being a giant blending of the most iconic parts of FNAF's imagery. Either way, the pirate ship is also in a big ball pit. Makes me wonder if this one also allows for time travel. Probably not, but I still can't believe that that's a real thing and has been a significant part of FNAF lore and come back up in recent games. Just never change FNAF. Elsewhere, we also get our first look at a sort of cave or tunnel-looking area with water going through the tunnel. This is probably part of some boat attraction and is used for some pretty effective scares.
Maybe this was left out of the playlist on purpose because it's nothing. This is Jet Flesh.
Up the brightness a bit, you'll see a bunch of
maybe
or plushies of the puppet. So this makes me wonder: is this part of the?
Can't believe Matt Pat died for this.
Weird
This is
puppet
Nightmare
cult
Chica.
going on here with all these plushies getting placed throughout the restaurant. This might also be
believe they killed him for In the Flesh live action.
Plushies everywhere throughout
Bro
the
is like
Pizzaplex,
10,000
but that was more of an
decibels.
Easter egg that the community never really cracked or got a
Who, me?
on.
Oh, my bad. I must be too close to the mic.
Now, speaking of
I'm
the
getting
puppet,
used to
this
it.
is
I'm
where
getting
we
used to it.
really start to get into the meat of the trailer. McKenna Grace's
Sorry,
character
chat.
finds
I might
a
have just
stairwell
exploded your
leading to a
eardrums. My
weird
bad.
Sub-basement area where she finds a giant present-looking box. There are gears all over the wall which start to spin, eventually opening the box as McKenna Grace looks up in terror. This, of course, is where the puppet animatronic comes into play here in the movie, and honestly, this setup is terrifying. I'd previously thought that this scene was going to be happening in the school as part of the third act climax, but clearly not, and this is way better.
You also
These
thought it was going to be
investigators
Mangle.
are taking the same role as Max and the hooligans who broke into the pizzeria in FNAF 1, showing off how dangerous these animatronics can be and that they can leave the restaurant, probably at the end of Act 1 or the middle of Act 2. McKenna Grace is getting taken out by
Does
the
he
puppet
know?
here, and the other members of her ghost hunting crew are picked off one by the rest of the animatronics. And from the brief shot we get of Mangle on top of the van as it's driving away, it looks like at least one...
That's not a van! It's an SUV and it's clearly a different car, dude. What are you talking about?
The investigation.
We went frame by frame to see what kind of camera it was, but we can't even identify when something is an effing van.
Will also
Is it? Wait, is it? Am I just being mean on purpose? Is that the same car?
It's a SUV.
It's a completely different
Vanessa's
car. You can see the front of the other car. Oh my god. What are you doing? All right, Pablo, thank you for the 5 gifts. That is incredibly kind. We are at we've been doing this for a little longer, almost 2 hours, but we'll probably wrap this up after this video. It won't be a lot longer. But yeah, WW Pablo. Not everyone knows about cars, Gibson. Wait, that's true. This isn't car theory.
Before they're chased down and killed. It's brutal stuff.
No, because honestly, I was
was that
wondering why
Nightmare
they make a
Mangle?
theory about cars.
Why did they put Nightmare Mangle in there?
All the kids in the audience love the Metalocalypse reference.
Hey,
My
beautiful
God.
people. It's
Bruh.
Emma Ross Katz. And
And then we get an advertisement. What are you guys thinking so far about this video?
I think
we've learned that there's a film crew.
I think it's statement slop. He's just saying things.
You gotta have stakes for the main characters, know what I mean? So the next big set of scenes...
Okay, wait, hold on. Let's... Another ad because I rewound? Are you kidding me? What is this? This is... What's going on?
Dude.
Chase down...
Okay, yeah, Nightmare Mangle, people pointed out, blah, blah, blah. Hold on.
It's brutal stuff, but necessary setup
Metalocalypse,
for
okay.
this sort of horror film. Like, you gotta have stakes
Okay,
for the
hold
main
on.
characters.
Okay, guys, remember how I told you to remember that they had this really good, crisp HD shot of Abby the last time they made a video? What is this? What is this?
Well, it's withered Abby, obviously.
It's withered Abby. It's blurry Abby. Blurry Abby theory. She's too far away. Lee forgot to put his glasses on, thought the van was the truck, and thought that this was acceptable. Like, what is this? My God. Phantom Abby, yeah. Budget cuts, what did they do to her? Oh my God.
Know what I mean?
And they're going to keep using this picture like throughout all the rest of the videos. Like, why?
So the next big set of scenes from this trailer are what I'm going to call the home life section, involving Mike, Abby, and Vanessa just trying to live their best lives.
What are you
For
doing?
example, we get a sequence of Mike and Vanessa out at dinner. This is clearly a pretty nice restaurant, or maybe just an Olive Garden. It's kind of hard to tell. But either way, this is really giving the energy of a romantic date to me. Vanessa wonders if this is what being normal feels like, and Mike comments that they're both doing fine. They've been through a lot, and you know what? I agree. Not everyone gets stabbed by their serial killer dad. That's incredibly traumatic.
Weird Springtrap arm thing
And
again.
it looks like Vanessa is feeling some PTSD because of it. There's another shot of Vanessa laying on a bed, clutching her stomach, roughly where Afton stabbed her in the previous movie. She's probably thinking about that here, and given the lighting and color of the scene, it looks like it's connected to that cool shot from the first teaser of Afton's spirit at the end of the hallway with all of the doors magically swinging open. I'm going to guess that this is part of a dream sequence and that she's actually having recurring nightmares about Afton. There's another scene where
Wait,
Vanessa
that's
looks
true.
exhausted as Springtrap's hand comes in and grabs her shoulder. Very obviously a
Is it
CGI
recurring?
element too. This
I mean,
seems
not that
directly
that's
connected
important,
to the
but-
scene
Two or
from the
three
first
times, yeah.
teaser of Vanessa pulling a gun, so she's probably hallucinating her father attacking her again and pulled a gun only to find nothing.
Why did they add, like, guts? Let me rewind. They added, like, blood and guts to the Springtrap model, like, coming out of his tummy. What is this? That's kind of weird.
Nothing there. Oh, and just before
They keep
we
doing
move on from
Springtrap wrong.
Springtrap, there's
Poor
another
Springtrap.
great scene of him running down a hallway. Again, this feels like a dream to me. I don't really think that Afton's going to play a huge role in this particular story, but they probably wanted Matthew Lillard back for the name recognition and to set him up as the main antagonist for whatever they're going to do for FNAF 3. Back to the restaurant, Vanessa asks about Abby, and Mike says that she has good days and then days where she misses her ghostly friends. So right off the bat, that's interesting because the way this conversation is framed implies that Vanessa hasn't seen or talked to Mike and Abby for a while. Otherwise, why would she be asking about how Abby's doing? So this means that she and the Schmidts sort of went their separate ways for a bit, or that this isn't
Maybe
long
she was in
after
a
got out of the
coma.
hospital. We then see a shot
Yeah.
of Abby building
And they just used the same...
Just an idea.
They just used the correct Abby thing, and so I don't know why it's so hard.
a little toy animatronic. This is a fun nod to the full-size
Feels like a
toy
Watch
animatronics we're
Mojo
gonna be seeing
video.
elsewhere
I don't
in
know
the
about
film.
that, though.
And it's also a bit of supporting evidence for
Aw,
our previous
don't be
theory that
mean. Even
someone
that's
has
too
come
much.
in and
Too much,
bought
Gibby.
Freddy IP. I mean,
I didn't say it, a
Afton doesn't
commenter
really seem
said
like
it.
the type to be making deals with like
Oh,
Mattel
phew.
or Hasbro to make
For a second, I was worried you might be mean.
Yeah, that's not very Freddy, is it?
Never.
Oh yeah, it would be weird if like this official Chica looking thing here was like a real product, because who would have made this? Imagine looking at this trailer and guessing correctly that this was molded by Toy Chica, that she just had a 3D printer and was able to make this overnight. Imagine predicting that. You can't, because it's
So-
insane, Scott.
Well,
I mean, Afton
well, the
doesn't really
truth
seem like
lies
the
in
type
Pop Goes, but
to be making
Oh,
deals with
yeah,
like
that's true.
Mattel
The dark
or
secret.
Hasbro to make these sorts of toys.
Yeah, the
and
dark
Abby
secret with
certainly
the
didn't
Pop
build
Goes the
this
Weasel's
and,
3D printer.
cast the Chica shell out of plastic herself. Someone made and sold that toy. We also see
Someone
that
made
Abby
and sold
still
that toy. Toy Chica made it somehow.
draws the animatronics a lot. I quite like that there's this cute little recreation of the scene where they all built like the fort and then laid on the ground inside of it together from the first movie. There's also a much darker drawing here.
Toy
of
Chica
Abby along
birthed
with
the
either
model.
Golden
Yeah, she
Freddy
laid it
or
like an
original
egg.
Freddy. It's kind of hard to tell. Like the color's a little ambiguous. It is both ears, but it's also recreating a scene with Golden Freddy. Either way, this drawing is like evil looking. Is that implying that she has darker memories of that particular animatronic than
The
she's
dark
letting
truth
on?
behind
What's also interesting here is that these
Freddy,
other
I don't know.
drawings are of the toy animatronics, not the original ones. And there's a drawing here of Abby inside of a ship on the water. Perhaps the
Old
pirate ship we
man
talked
Abby
about earlier. So
Quinces.
there are a couple of possibilities here. Either Abby has already visited the new location from this movie, Freddy, and this scene is from later in the movie after she's drawn to the new animatronics, or they're somehow visiting her and invading her dreams, or something like that, trying to lure her to the new pizzeria. At this point, I don't really think we have enough information to outright say what's going on, but given the new animatronics...
Don't worry, if you watch the movie, you still won't understand why she drew Toy Chica without her beak, because she doesn't see that until later.
Seem to need the fast talker to communicate with Abby. I'm gonna guess the former
field.
option for now.
Fair, she also drew the FNAF 1 animatronics before, or the kids at least, before she saw them, right?
It's just Oswald.
She said, like, oh, I can see the kids, like, on my bed or whatever. Like, when Mike sits on her bed, she's like, you're sitting on my friend. So I think that she could always see them. But the Toy Chica without her beak thing she doesn't see until later. Yes, Sophie, the field, exactly.
Only giving her false hope.
This has a couple of interesting implications. First of all, are the animatronics broken? Did something happen? The restaurant from the first movie did kind of collapse as Afton was defeated, but most of the structure remained intact, and we didn't really see any of the animatronics get hurt or broken. So maybe, like, someone broke in and damaged them, or they're not functioning for some other reason? Like, is Afton's spirit somehow hurting them in some other way? Or perhaps, as we previously speculated, whomever bought the FNAF franchise might have come in and taken parts from the FNAF 1 animatronics to put them in the toy animatronics. Maybe that's why they're broken. Either way, we know that Mike is trying to fix them, but
this is the same background. This
is
another. It's blurred now, but it's another of their videos that has AI in it because it's the same one.
It's a fun conflict setup, which leads us to our third big group of scenes: the main characters and their interactions with the new animatronics.
Hey, beautiful people! It's Evan.
It's Hey, beautiful people. Where did the classics go? Asks Henry. Me and Unwithered believe that we've pointed out a couple places in the movie where they, like there were serious script changes that affected how the movie went. So I think that they were originally supposed to not exist and then did, but it's the whole thing.
At first, she gets no answer, but later, at night, the fast talker lights up in Abby's room. And, like, we know this is Abby's room, just look at the drawings on the wall. And we do hear a voice coming through.
Help us come find us. I will show you the way.
Just to get this out of the way, it looks like Mike and Abby may have moved into a nicer house that they're fixing up, or at least that's what's implied here because this house here in the trailer is not the same one from the first film. Anyway, the spirits are now communicating through the fast talker, and this directly connects with the shots we see of Abby riding up to the sister location from both this trailer and the first teaser. But something else big here? The voice says,
Come find us.
Come find us. Remember, at the very end of the credits of the first movie, we hear the letters spelling out, come find me, all while the puppet's music box is playing. That implied that the puppet was asking Mike and Abby to find them. So, come find us here in the trailer is oddly similar, isn't it? So, the voice talking through the fast talker here, it isn't the original ghost. It's not Abby's friends. It's the puppet trying to lure her to the new pizzeria for some reason.
Yes.
Other scenes in this section of the trailer include a lot of what we've seen before or things close to it. The animatronics out and about, at the fair, in the neighborhood, at the school about to attack the character played by Wayne Knight, that sort of thing. There's also an ominous voice here saying,
Where are you gonna want to? I'm not done with you.
So I couldn't immediately identify who this was supposed to be. Like, it doesn't really sound similar to Matthew Lillard and Afton to me, even though the dialogue does make me think of him. So not 100% on who this is supposed to be.
That sounds
I just don't think we have enough information.
Like it is Matthew Lillard.
Enough like him, yeah.
Either way, we also get our first look at...
Was that line in the movie?
Yeah, it was Afton to Vanessa when she was running into the workshop and then she saw Circus Baby.
That's true. Wait, that's true.
Animatronics. Chica, Foxy.
Look, it's the entire shot that has Withered Bonnie in it.
And Bonnie. Now these are... they're weird. Given what we've talked about here with the animatronics from the first movie potentially being stripped
Why is Chica looking at me like that?
I did have the thought that maybe these are supposed to be those animatronics. So that would make sense why they're like broken down now. But that being said, they do look really different. I also asked Tom about this. Just
they do in the games too.
He wasn't 100% sure if that could be the case. But just because they do look so different, he and I agreed that these are likely different robots. So
which ends up being true in the movie.
Sets of animatronic characters at play here. The original FNAF 1 robots.
Okay. What?
What? They went the FNAF 1.
This is the most wrong
FNAF
thing
2.
I've ever seen. What the heck? First of all, this is not a real
hang
thing.
on.
Okay, look at this. Look at this. These all look official. I've seen all these renders before. This Freddy is weird. Don't know what this is. So they're
No,
going original.
that's the right one.
Hold on.
Toy animatronics and
Blah, blah,
the
blah.
Withered.
Okay, original toy Wizards. Let's look at the Withered section for a second. Okay, Withered Freddy. They put Withered Golden Freddy. What? Withered, Mangle, which isn't a thing, but
Not
like
a
it could just
thing.
be Withered Foxy.
Yeah.
Phantom Mangle. Like, what is this?
Again,
Instead of
I don't
Withered
think it's
Foxy.
Lee's fault. I think it's just
Oh no,
the
I
editors,
don't. I'm not saying it's Lee's fault. Absolutely not.
No, I'm just clarifying for chat.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
go blame Lee for anything. Don't
Well,
blame
it's 'cause they
anyone.
could've
Just saying.
Yeah, don't
Just
play.
literally taking the
AI
ones
either.
from UCN.
From
They
Custom
had
Night,
the
yeah.
names on them.
Yeah, no, but Phantom Angle and Golden Withered Freddy. Like, what the dang heck?
Ones. Man, this franchise got like really big really fast, huh? And finally, to round things out, we completely expected it, but Vanessa and Mike will be coming to visit the pizzeria at some point.
All right, Impulse 7 says that's the official UCN render of Freddy. That's
There's
fine.
an awesome shot of the pair getting approached by Balloon Boy in the water of the pizzeria's tunnel, and a couple of
Phantom Mangle
incredibly
thinks he's
effective
on the
shots of
team.
puppets stalking Vanessa. Honestly, those two shots have to be some of my favorites of the whole freaking trailer. The fact that you can't see the puppet.
Look at his
completely and
freaky
it's,
little
focused
hands.
Chef's kiss, man. And of course,
The
there's
UCN
the
didn't
money
have
shot
Withered
of
Freddy
Mike
or
in the
Foxy?
pizzeria's office with no
That's weird.
doors. We hear the laugh of a child as animatronics close in on Mike. He looks down at a Freddy Fazbear mask and thinks,
"There's no way that'll work."
but he tries it anyway, and it does work. This is, of course, the main mechanic of the FNAF 2 video game. Here, you had to try to use a Freddy mask to try to trick the animatronics and their facial recognition child protection software to make them think that you were one of them so they'd leave you alone. Not sure how much of that will be in the actual movie beyond this one scene, but they had to include it somewhere, right? Otherwise, I mean, what would even be the point of adapting FNAF 2? Now, if you
can skip this ad, but
Yes, I
your
will
skin
be
love you
skipping
if
this
you don't.
ad.
Honestly, I think that cleansing
Wow, that's
left
great.
my
That-
skin-
that's
watched
Thanks for the
trailer, you
permission.
may have noticed that I've left a couple of things out so far. And hey, good eye. I did indeed strategically leave out a couple of moments and didn't dive into
This
them
left stuff
specifically
out?
because it's really the key to the whole big plot of the movie. Why? Well, because of this line right here.
Some little girl got murdered here.
McKenna Grace's paranormal investigator mentions that a little girl was killed in this restaurant. And if you know anything about FNAF lore, this can only be pointing to one person, Charlie Emily. If you don't know, Charlie, or Charlotte, was the daughter of Henry Emily, Afton's business partner in the lore. Afton killed Charlie here at this original location. All of this is information we got from the FNAF 2 game. And beyond this verbal mention, I think we actually see Charlie in this trailer. During the climax, there's a split-second shot of a girl being attacked. This is the actress Audrey Lynn Marie, and though I haven't seen any official reporting on it, common speculation online is that she's playing Charlie. And I mean, she
Deducer,
does have
there
the
he
look.
is.
She's a little girl with long brunette hair. Yeah, that checks out. And this even lines up with other evidence or questions that we have about this movie. For example, that voice we talked about earlier, the male one that I wasn't confident was Afton, that could be whatever actor they got to play Charlie's dad,
Cough,
Henry
cough.
Emily. Plus, there's a shot of who I believe to be Springtrap looking at a little boy through a door's window, a boy that I couldn't really identify in a version of the pizzeria that is clearly well maintained. This is a flashback, which would line up with the timeline of Charlie's murder. So, more than likely, we're getting the full Charlie storyline here in the FNAF 2 movie, which
He did
lines
it.
up
Home
with
run.
the puppet.
You
Yeah,
got it.
Charlie was the spirit that possessed the puppet in the game, so she's probably doing so here too. Now, that does create a bit of a problem for us here on Film Theory, though. See, Matt and I previously theorized that Garrett, Mike's little brother that Afton killed in the first movie, was going to be taking the place of Charlie and become the puppet in the film universe. And if Garrett isn't going to be the puppet, well, then that's a pretty big loose end that doesn't
Balloon
seem to be
Boy.
going anywhere. They will probably be addressing what happened to Garrett.
Does
in
he
this
know?
movie.
Because Garrett doesn't exist in this movie,
But
apparently.
if Garrett isn't going to be the puppet, then who's he going to be?
Well,
I do have a pretty
Those
good
who know
idea
that
about that.
the Golden
but,
Freddy
well,
kid is
this
possessing
video is
Golden
already
Freddy,
way too long.
and Garrett's
I know-
possessing Fredbear, which will be a different animatronic.
Wait, that's true.
I know it really sucks
God.
when we have to break videos into parts, but this script is already almost 4,000 words long. And I know Tom also has a big FNAF video that the editors are working on, and this just can't be any longer even if I wanted it to be. But please, subscribe because next week we are going to be doing a deep dive into who Garrett is and all of the evidence backing that up. But until then, remember that it's all just a theory. A film
Was that a subtle reference? Did we know that Matt was Toy Bonnie yet?
backing that up.
When did we learn that
until
Matt was
then,
Toy
remember
Bonnie?
that it's all
No, we learned
Look.
Matt was Toy Bonnie like in October or something.
He's panning across. He's doing the Toy Bonnie. He's panning across the screen.
Yeah.
Look,
all just
Well
a
called
theory.
it.
that's crazy. Wait, when was this? August. Wow. And Tom.
Didn't Tom say he didn't know?
Tom said he found out when everyone else found out, which was during the creator fashion show at Theorist or whatever. So yeah, it's definitely the editor who's putting AI images into this video definitely did not know that. That's a fieldism. That's pretty interesting. Wow. Foreshadowing goes crazy.
This guy believes in the field.
Tom and Ash both said they didn't know. Yeah, wow. That's pretty interesting.
A film theory.
Funny Tom and Ash didn't know, but Lee did.
Okay, that's whatever. That's a thing. All right, guys. So I plan to be streaming a lot more in general, hopefully every couple of days. So I will be finishing up the film theory FNAF 2 video things, and then possibly looking over at like my old ones and anyone else who did them. Unwithered voiced interest in maybe having me and T-Dreads on his channel to look at the video that the three of us did, which I think would be really interesting. I know I got a lot of stuff wrong. I was like, Fall Fest happens in the 80s, and that was not correct. But as you eagle-eyed viewers might have seen in chat about a minute ago, I posted a link. And that is a link to a thing that I want you guys to go and click on. This is a video over on my other channel, which is going to premiere in 6 minutes, that I want everyone who's watching this stream, all 268 of you, click that link and go wait for that to start. I'm obviously going to be in the comments over there, and we can talk through the premiere of that video. Giovanni, you missed the entire stream, but you did not miss going and joining the premiere of the video premiering on my other channel, which is called GiBi's Spooky Shack. It's a different channel. It's not Horror Homestead. It is Spooky Shack. Make sure you go over there to watch my my less well-edited videos. Horror Homestead's going to be my big videos. Spooky Shack's going to be my little videos. I got quite a few comments. I do stream live, what are they called? Highlights. Like, that channel's going to be a lot of stream highlights and Q&As once I start doing those again. So I'm getting a lot of comments on my stream highlight channel when people are like, wait, I thought this was a new video. Why is it just a stream highlight? It's a stream highlight channel, guys. That's what it's for. That's what it's for. It's for small silly videos. People are liking the thumbnail. Love the thumbnail. Oh my gosh, yes. So I will be seeing you guys over there in roughly 5 minutes. Before we go, someone asked me if I think Mall looks good, and yes, I think that the Mall TV show looks very good.
I'm worried it will fall into the same kind of middle ground that all these prequel shows have, where it's like trying to reveal a lot but not being able to because it doesn't want to interfere with the continuity. I'm apprehensive.
I think it'll be fine. They like, it has to end up with Maul on Malachor because that's where we see him in Rebels. So,
yeah,
like, it can't be too. Oh, actually,
exactly.
I guess Solo happens first. So like, they know where they're going, they know where they are. It looks really good.
I completely forgot he was in the Solo.
Yeah.
Most forgettable cameo ever.
Yes, it would be. I think it would be cool if they sort of like continued his story past. That, like, maybe we see Solo from his perspective, maybe Kira comes in, maybe we get like 7 seasons. That'd be pretty dope. Could we make a Star Wars channel at this point? No, it would be too depressing. Impulse 7 says, fun fact, GiBi, I'm making my own second channel in the near future, and that was inspired by you. Yeah, so, Evan, I've been watching and sub to you for a really long time. But like, I watch your FNAF stuff, and then I see you like live streaming Resident Evil or making videos about stuff like that. And I'm like, ooh, you know, I do really like Evan, but I don't, you know, I'm not interested in like that franchise or that kind of thing. If you had like a FNAF channel and then a everything else channel, I think that would increase viewer retention on all of your videos, which is kind of what I'm doing with this second channel. Because if you release a stream highlights and no one watches it, or you release a book video, which I've been doing, and no one watches them, it hurts your other videos, because YouTube's like, this channel puts out stinky videos. So, like, all the Tales books I'm going to be doing are going to be over on the other channel as well. So you want to make sure you sub to Spooky Shack. Algo Math saying, Darth Talon type beat. Yeah, I think the Sith Twilight...
No.
The Sith Twilight in the new show is named Devin, I think. That's pretty neat. What are you guys up to? What are your two's upcoming projects?
I'm debating whether or not I should do a Mike Jeremy video or a Remnant video next. I think Remnant's going to be more important.
Remnant might be the move.
Just like, yeah.
I'm writing an Agony video. Just because there isn't a good one at the moment. Like, she's always nervous was doing a stream, and she's like, I just want to learn what agony is. No one has a video that's just like, what is agony? And so that's probably going to be my next one.
Funny you should say that, Gibby. That's actually part of my Remnant video is talking about Agony too, because I think they're inherently related. But
Yeah.
You guys should just make a collab.
Dude, I'll be the Talbert and Gibby can be the Taggart. I'm Remnant and he's Agony.
True.
Yeah, I gotta.
Yeah,
explain
you're
the
all
field.
you're all talking about ambitious remnant isms. I'm gonna make a video about Nedbear. I'm excited.
Dope. Do you
I
have
think you heard my ramblings, Fazant, like the other day about this.
Do you have
not, I don't remember.
Yeah.
You're gonna try to figure out like when they were made. Is that gonna be part of it?
Oh no, Nedbear's Golden Freddy. Oh, that's the video.
Oh, because he changes his appearance to something.
Well, it's more complicated than you think. Wait, that's true.
This dark
Anyway,
secret
yes,
is
it's
more
more or less like
complicated.
that. Yeah, exactly.
The dark secret behind Ned Bear.
I should make a video in that intonation the whole time.
Lee did it once during this video, which I thought was funny. All right, everyone, so we're going to be wrapping up. Click this link, go sub to Spooky Shack. We're going to go watch that premiere together. So we're going to head out now. Goodbye, Night Media. Goodbye, Harrison. Goodbye, Jet. Goodbye, Harrison again. Goodbye, Impulse 7. Goodbye, Jet again. Goodbye, Roxanne.